So the track here is the Wii Fit Plus body measurement theme. That doesn't sound like the name, hang on. Wait, why do I fucking name it that? Hang on, where the fuck is my thing? Where's my music thing? There it is. Oh, it's probably not in there. No. Oh well. Well, I've named it twice. Anyway. Yeah, this track is interesting. It took me a long time to find it because I've heard it on various streams of like Nintendo music compilations when streamers were playing that. I've just heard it everywhere. It's a nice chill song, weird enough for a measurement theme, and I guess it's like really interesting because it's like jazz swing. I'm not sure if that's the genre, but it sounds like that to me. Because you hear elements of it. It's got obviously like the simple drum beat there, but it's also got these like jazz chords. The jazz chord? I need to open the thing again. I'm gonna close the music. And I swear it's like a vibraphone as well. It's just a pretty underutilized instrument, or some sort of phone instrument. You know, the ones where you use a stick to play them. I actually tried that in school once. We actually had one. I think it was a xylophone actually. It is okay. It's a bit weird to assemble and play. It did freak me out a bit because of my sensory issues, I think, but it's generally fine. Yeah, and in this track I do like the strings that come in eventually, which is sort of where I get the swing element. And also the guitar as well, adding some depth to the track. There's some layering as well with the synth at some point. Yeah, it's just a great track. It's very simple, very chill, as I said. I do like it. There's a lot of Nintendo music I do like, which is strange because don't consider all of it great. Honestly, like, I listen to some Mario stuff and it's kind of like a hit or miss. But it's mainly like the Wii music that's been goated for absolutely fucking years. It's so timeless, and even some of the older stuff like Mario Kart Wii, Coconut Mall, which is amazing, Rainbow Road, which is fucking great. It's one of the best track stage themes I've ever heard, I think. And the Mario Kart game, certainly up there with some of the Mario Kart 8 stuff. Yeah, see, it's impressive music. That's why I do this, that's why I talk about it and even reference it, or, you know, show it off. So when there's music that's worth talking about, and in a generation, or not necessarily generation, but a time where AI is more prevalent than ever, it's important that we look at the artists, in the sense, or musicians in this case, and composers, whoever's involved in it. And that's where we find a lot of the greatest stuff, because an AI is not going to replicate that, it's not going to have the heart to do that. And, you know, I don't think an AI is really going to get a feel for something. Like, if you're going to make a soundtrack for something, it's not going to get a feel for something based on the image you give it. You feed it and then it'll just slop out something. I try to think of it as if I was a composer myself, which weird enough is turning into a topic as well. Because I sort of have a dream of becoming a composer, or at least making some tracks for a game. I'm not 100% sure I can at the moment. It's still a bit on edge about it. I have been asked before, believe it or not. I might have been not, I'm not sure. I think I've actually been commissioned as well once, so I didn't obviously do commissions though. But I'm just unsure about it because my skill set is very niche, and I get the feeling that people will just criticise it. It'd be like a Steam review, negative, not recommended. Soundtrack is bad. Don't know who made this, but must be a fucking idiot. I could already see it. It'd just be a disaster, so no point at that level anyway. And I'd rather just focus on the covers and originals, because at least they've got some skeleton to put some skin on. That we don't need meat. Nobody needs meat based. Yeah. Can't remember what I was talking about now. But yeah, AI music is just shit. It's not going to have the heart. It's not going to look at something like a measurement and think, oh, let's make it jazzy and swingy. No, it probably makes something sci-fi or electronic, pretty generic stuff. It's just not very creative. It's just going to follow logic as well. So it's not actually heart, it's logic. And it's like, look at old TV shows. This is the other thing. A lot of the old TV shows have jingles and melodies that play every now and then. Like Simpsons has some fucking amazing ones. Also, it had like the themes going into it. South Park also had a similar thing. Also had its own songs that both had them. Family Guy, I think, even had some. Yeah, that's not my favourite show ever. It's probably one of my most hated. At least it became that anyway. All the stuff maybe is good, but I don't know. Futurama, did it have any? Yeah, I think it did actually. Like sometimes the bell jingle in transitions and stuff. But yeah, it adds so much depth to what is already a very complex and interesting piece of art, essentially. So yeah, it's acting or animation, and it adds that depth. That's why it's so important. You can get a feel for it if you think about the scene that you look at, like, oh, I don't know, maybe something dark. So you might want to try to make some music that reflects that, that makes it feel darker. So it's got like a dissonance, like a note that's a half step over and playing at the same time with that one. So like C and C sharp, for example, is probably one of my favourites for dissonance anyway. It sounds heavy, it sounds dark, and yeah, it really adds stuff. Even then, sometimes a whole step one can do the job as well. Yeah, that's the point. You get half of that. If you get a feel for the scene, you can probably get a feel for the music as well. That's what inspired some of my older stuff as well. Stuff I don't really want to go into, but yeah, some of my own originals. Yeah. Also like the battle theme. I remember making that battle theme years ago. One of the best things I've ever written, and it's just unique. Yeah, I sort of had a template on that, I think, but it sounded good. It's just rare for me to make. And it's something I could have adapted. And all it took was a fucking drum beat. I was starting to get a feel for it. I was thinking, okay, this is starting to turn into something epic and sort of battle themed, I guess. And then it did. So that's how that happened. Anyway, I better move on. So, yeah. So whilst I let my hair dry, I'll talk about something scary. It's quite unusual for a first book, but hear me out. When it comes to gaming and enemy design, there are some enemies that are just scarier than others. It's not because you think that they're maybe like scary based on appearance, but it could be because of lore or even just the fact that they can just be terrifying to face. And there are a few games where I've encountered this actually, strangely enough. And they come in many different forms, but sometimes they're just either not countable or counterable rather. Or they just fuck you over. And I've tried to remember as many as I can, but it seems very sort of, I don't know, far and few between, I guess. Actually, that's another one. Yeah. So, the first one is the witch in Left 4 Dead 2, which is my earliest memory of a scary enemy. And the witch is fucking terrifying. Not just in the audio sense when you hear her cry, but when you face her as well. And I remember all these tricks back in the day on YouTube where people would grab one of those pump action shotguns, walk up to her, a fucking headshot. As soon as she stood up, it's like, what the fuck? Then I've tried like doing it myself and it fails. But she's so scary because she incapacitates you instantly. And I believe the law behind her is like, I think a breakup. I remember the DLC where she had a sort of wedding veil on the witch. She appears every now and then. She sometimes appears in the most inconvenient places. So it's like you don't want to disturb her. And you get that notification that a member has fucking startled the witch. Oh god. And the way she attacks as well is like terrifying. Not many horror things even do this now, I don't think. But Jesus Christ, the way she just slashes at you with these stupidly long nails. It's absolutely nuts. Valve are really onto something there. That's what with a lot of the designs there. Also the jockey is kind of creepy. Based on what we know about them. And also the charger, isn't the charger sort of in that same vein? Not too much drinking it. So that leads on to the next one. Weird enough, a few Valve games. Half-Life 2 Striders. I remember these being quite scary because you needed an RPG to deal with them. They had a lot of health and they were just a nuisance in general. So they weren't very nice to be around. There was a second one, but I can't remember what it was called. It was like this helicopter, a combine helicopter, rather. That like follows you around. It's not the one that looks like an alien, it's the other one. It's not the helicopter either actually, it's an airship, not helicopter. Because I remember the helicopter well. But that one was often scary to face because it would like target you. You get this like sound alerting you that it's about to shoot. It's like, oh god, I've got to survive this somehow. Yeah. The next one, weird enough, is Portal. Sentries. Sentries are terrifying in that because they're really hard to avoid, and especially a death sentence to be exposed to them. And yeah, it was one of the scarier enemies to deal with, weird enough. Even though it seems like a non-threat compared to others. But it is so strange to encounter them. Like, what a bizarre enemy as well. The fact that you have to be in sight line of them, that in itself created a lot of issues with even navigating. So yeah, it was quite interesting. The next one is actually from Sonic Heroes. You might think, what? How? Actually, they are kind of scary. I remember the first time encountering. There's actually like a few here. I think the first one that I didn't put here for some reason, which I should have, is shielded lancers. Yeah, the lancer bots, but with a shield. They were a pain to deal with. I remember every time you go like in a homing attack to deal with them, and then you just get stabbed by one of them. It's like, oh god, there goes my rings. And the only way to deal with it is actually to go with power. You know, the power type. And they were so fucking annoying to deal with, and yeah. But the next one, weird enough, is similar, and that's the Knight. Which makes its debut in the Halloween one, the mansion. That's I believe. Was it a bit earlier? I can't remember now. But they're quite tough to deal with, a lot of health, and not very easy to counter. And you need a lot of patience as well, I think, with those, unless you have your team power thing, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called now. I'm sorry, I can't deal with that. Unless something's moved. There we go. Yeah, but then the last one is actually one I almost forgot about, but it is a run killer if you're not careful. And I'm of course talking about the abductor robots. These fucking things, you know what I'm talking about if you know. But they capture your team, and there could be 3 of them at once. So you have to deal with them quickly to deal with them essentially. You can turn to fly and stun them, or just power, like jump and throw everyone at it. And that generally worked, but at the same time it's like, oh my fucking god, why? These things are painful. They're just annoying. So they weren't fun. But speaking of annoying, Doom Eternal. You know the most annoying enemy in this? Imps. It's always fucking imps. No wait, I mean Marauders, of course. Yeah, Marauders. Yeah. But Marauders were a pain in their own way. Because when I first encountered it, it's like, what the fuck do I do? I'm in that small room, or relatively small, and you have to somehow kill it. And it took me a long time to figure out how to kill it because of just the lack of a tutorial. I think there wasn't a tutorial anyway. I can't remember if there was actually. It turns out there's a window to hit him, and it's like this glint in his eye and a sound, obviously, a sound cue. But after that it got easier. I managed to do the second DLC with ease with that, the double Marauder, and even the buffed Marauder actually I managed to deal with after learning that. It's one of the easier enemies to deal with, but I was playing on normal, so maybe it helped. But yeah, Marauders are quite scary. In multiplayer they weren't. They're scarier in single player, obviously, because of shield as well. Next is Deep Rock Galactic, weirdly enough. They're called what, Tyrant Reed. These things are absolutely terrifying because they are a wrong killer. I remember the first time I ever encountered one on House of Fort was with a friend who initially introduced me to the game, and my god, the amount of wiping and deaths we had on that. I think I only went down a few times, but he went down once and I went, the other team, I mean the other players, went down about 10, 11 times just on one Tyrant Weed. And that shows how almost overtuned it is. And had I known the tactics I know these days, I probably could have been able to. I actually want to see the modded Has 5 Plus lobby from a Korok Tyrant Weed wipe because of just how I know how to deal with them. Simply put, as cover. You can do it with Engineer, but you need a wall to place platforms on, and that's a priority. So that way you have cover from any Korok Tyrant Weed, and then you have to deal with not only killing a few of them to unlock the main health bar, because it's like a few tentacles out of the ground. You also have to deal with the healing pods as well. And it's just so fucking like deadly as a boss sort of thing. Compared to something like the Prospector or Nemesis or even the Dreadnoughts and the Caretaker, it's far more threatening, and even then far more high stakes because of just what it does. It's just absolutely insane. I can't believe how I first encountered that, and obviously later on encountering it, it's just holy crap. Actually unbelievably hard. So yeah, that was a encounterino. Sure. Not my favourite one. It's like fucking. But yeah, the Tyrant Reed is one of the ones. And they're getting scary to encounter, and also what the fuck even are they? Now I think about it, they're not even related to Glyphids, are they? So there's even that going for it. Which is just nuts. Yeah, like, holy shit. It is unbelievable. Yeah, anyway, next is Final Fantasy XIV with enough. I don't think there is a scary enemy. There was lots of bosses that are scary, like PAS and the last phase. All of them, actually. I found them all difficult. What boss is the worst, in my opinion, so far? It still has to be PAS, I think. it's definitely the hardest one to master because you need to rely on groups who understand what they're doing. Did about 5 runs of it apparently. I checked the other day and I had 5 books. Yeah, but I managed to got them out, thankfully. But that was one of the hardest ones. Like, holy fuck. I've never had such a difficult time with a raid boss of all things. It was nuts. But by far one of the scarier ones, in perspective, is actually an enemy type. And that enemy is actually Sabotenders. If anyone is unaware, Sabotenders are extremely dangerous. They're actually so dangerous that there's an S rank which can one-shot you under specific conditions. And you can avoid it, but the problem is if you don't, it's bye-bye essentially. And even for the normal Sabotenders, you can actually die to them as well. I remember leveling Blue Mage and dying to it a few times. But its ability is needles, and these needles come in a number. So they could come in earliest, like 300, 1,000, 3,000. I believe it goes up to 10,000 in the Shadowbringers, and then 990,000. Yeah, it's a lot. And sometimes they're area of circles, sometimes they're in a direction, or maybe even targeting someone. But the reason they're so scary is because that is the damage number they do. But not only that, it bypasses defenses. So, yeah, good luck tanking those. I'm not sure if it bypasses invuln, so that'd be interesting. Like, who will win, invuln or 990,000 needles? I'll pay to see that. But finally we get on to Borderlands 2. Did Borderlands 1 have one? I don't really care. The Borderlands 1 was hit or miss really. With all the enemy types and bosses, the badasses were quite annoying at higher levels. Even mini bosses and normal bosses in some cases. But I think the scariest one for me was probably the first raid boss in the Borderlands 2 Pirate DLC, the one in the place, I can't remember what it's called. Is it like Hyperion based? I can't remember. But it's definitely that boss. It's got the one with the gimmick that you have to stack a bunch of things to kill it instantly as a solo player. But it's so fucking painful to go through. I don't think I ever beat that legitimately. Like, ever. I think even then I tried it with a group once and it failed spectacularly. So it's not good. It was difficult as hell. I think it's called Hyperius actually now I think about it. That was a scary enemy. Just absolutely nuts. Wasn't there a capture bot in Borderlands 2 as well? I can't remember if there was one that disabled you or something. Those are also tough. Yeah, I can't really think of any other enemies, but I can think of Scariest just mechanically or visually it can be. Like the witch definitely fits all the categories. It's honestly genius though. I think that's probably my favourite enemy in gaming entirely, because it's like a fun one shot and also just terrifying. And the way you deal with it is like more coordinated as well. Like if you want to make sure nobody dies to it and it's in your way, you literally have to coordinate and get it out as fast as possible. Yeah, that's it I think. Can't really think of any more sort of enemies from that. It's a super interesting sort of thing there. Yeah, so let's move on. So one of my biggest guilts is surprisingly to do with my living situation, which is actually living in a house rather than living, well, in flats or apartments, whatever you call it. And I do feel that for a very good reason. It's amidst the cost of living crisis that we're in at the moment. I think there is more reason ever to basically give up spaces to the people who need it and can't afford it. But I'm in a very strange situation in that I don't know exactly what the best sort of option for me is because I can't seem to find it. Because for some reason I've just been born with just a mountain of issues and no obvious way around it. So I've ended up struggling over this because there is no, I don't know, like silver lining is how you call it. I'm not sure if that's the correct term. It feels so crappy because in this world there's so many things that don't even accommodate your basic needs. So everything sucks as a result. It just really doesn't help. And you almost want the solution to be something else, but I don't know. That's a difficult thing here, I suppose. What is it even to say? I'm not sure. It's quite a weird topic, but it's important regardless because I feel very deeply affected by it to a great extent. Yeah, it does matter. Yeah, there are some weird things obviously leading up to me being here, but again, it's like, what the fuck? Like, it feels cruel as well to just be in this situation and also just have these issues. It does feel a bit wrong, and that's why I do feel guilt over it. But enough, even though it's probably something I shouldn't be feeling. Again, I just think about other people in worse situations and what I'm terrified for, but families are like, in a situation where, they're in such a cramped space that they actually can't get anywhere, literally. It sucks, because that's a horrible place to be in. And nobody should be in that. And it just feels wrong in that sense. Yeah, like, it's so many levels of wrong in that way. And then you think about this as well. The thing is, like, people who get older, in my opinion, should be the ones in flats rather than younger people because they've lived out their younger years. They've obviously been through a lot more than we have. But I think they also should be somewhere that's more accommodating to them rather than, well, something like a house where it may not necessarily be accommodating, but it could be comforting maybe, in a way. There's a weird comfort thing, I guess, with that. It's quite important. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's maybe an argument there for people to just have to go live in these places because, again, there's so many things in the world that we'll struggle with, I think, but we need to care about others. Simple as that. Given that the young people are the ones that are going to be perhaps running the country in the future, we don't want to leave them with this shitty situation where they're stuck in a flat that's noisy as hell, and they start to grow like contempt for people and then turn it to the fascists that ironically these old people also fought against. So it's kind of like it goes in a circle almost. It's again cruel. Yeah, it's like one scenario on top of the other. Yeah. So else add? I think that's it really. I've got to go on to the next topic, which is a not so fun one as well. Yeah, I don't really know the solution. As I've said before, I've talked about it briefly. My obvious solution is just have accommodations specifically catered towards my needs. So something soundproof, something with not too much space, but enough that I can actually live and get through life quite easily. And I feel that's quite important, because that does matter in the end. Like if I could get my own place to myself, my own kitchen, my own fucking bathroom and bedroom, that's all I need. I don't really need like a room for on my computer or anything, like no office, nothing like that. I'm just asking for the basics, and this doesn't even take up much space anyway. In fact, it can be done smaller, I reckon. But yeah, there isn't really much else to add there, because that's all I need. It could be 2 stories, it could be 1 story. It depends on how you can build it. Yeah, like that's that. Anyway, I think I to move on. So fun. Yeah, so let's do it. I don't know if I forgot to do this, but my thoughts on Zadnor, which is the next level of bolster essentially, but stupidly overtuned. That's all I can say. And honestly, a load of garbage. It's worse than bolster, it was. And as far as like comparing it to Eureka, I don't know. I think there are some elements that are nearly the same. It looks like the way you spawn critical engagement series through killing random mobs. I don't like that. I think that's stupid. I think skirmishers should spawn them like the first one did. Because that means you're diverting your attention away from gaining metal to gain essentially whatever you get from critical engagements, which aren't always guaranteed to be winnable either. In fact, we wiped on one once, and it's been extremely problematic because of that. Like, it's been insanely difficult, and there isn't much we can do. Like, look here. Like, well, I need to start from the beginning. The biggest problem with Zadnor is the increase in everything, essentially. Like, the damage that enemies do, the health they have. There are so many fucking problems, and I don't know why they decided to do this, because it genuinely doesn't make sense. It makes it just unpleasant to play, and it's just, I just don't like it. I remember trying a skirmish and it was too much damage to even deal with, and then I tried another and it was also too much to deal with. There was just no winning with it, and that ended up making it extremely difficult. So what ended up happening was essentially there was no way around it. Like, it just felt lost in the end because the game's mechanics were just so shit. And Zadnor in itself just has many problems, aside from that alone. And I feel like these issues just keep coming every time I try to do something like this. And well, this is another one of them. Like, Fate's critical engagements are overtuned as hell. Someone almost dying there, getting focused as a healer, I don't know why. His enemies are the quickest I've ever killed here, which is interesting. The other thing that's really bad is it's locked far behind the resistance rank, which is stupid in my opinion. They shouldn't have done this. The fact that each zone is locked behind this is incredibly dumb. Just has to be said. It's one of the stupidest things they've ever done. Again, it feels like they just make these decisions on purpose. I don't know why. It just doesn't make sense. But holy crap, it's bad. The fact you have to be a high resistance rank to even get to these paths to begin with, it's not easy to do, especially at this level. When I thought, when I got to this zone, maybe I'll get more metal and stuff to level up. Not exactly. That isn't exactly how it works, it seems. And the amount you get is very minor compared to what you got in Bosnia Southern Front, is it? I think it's Southern Front, I could be wrong. It seems very minor compared to that, so I don't know what the deal with it is exactly. It just felt very shit. But even with like a deep essence, which I was using initially, and accidentally replaced it thinking I hadn't done it, it just started to feel real shitty in the end. Like, here's a skirmish here that I couldn't even complete. For some reason, somehow they've actually killed the boss, which is interesting. That's right, I'm dead. What the fuck? When did I lose health? Again, this is a problem. Is it the Sasquatch? What is the fucking Sasquatch here? Stupid. This is what I'm talking about though, even though it's funny as hell to just randomly have a Sasquatch here. I just don't like how overtuned it is, and my potion doesn't pop it for some reason. I don't know. It's very strange, but yeah, like that's the problem. That's exploitable as well. The fact I could do that is an exploit in itself. So we immediately got that issue there, where it just feels massively overtuned and just nigh impossible to do. And I'm about to die again because I've just done nothing. There's a dot, okay, maybe that's why. And my potion works, which is good. But then I have to make up for the damage loss, and I don't have any of those res things because for some reason they don't drop here. Which is another issue. Look at the damage. I know I just got revived, but what the fuck? What is this damage? There's nothing happening here. And somehow this thing got attacked. It's like, what? What are you doing? I think it's a healer. For fuck's sake. But yeah. As for some of the contents, the skirmishes vary. You get bosses, you get collections. It's the same as Bosja, but I would argue it's less fun because there's so much overtuning here. It's just absurd. It's not really a viable option for leveling, I don't think, in my opinion, because you're just going to die over and over again. There's no point in this. And annoyingly, this healer doesn't seem to understand that aggro's from shit like healing and stuff. I don't know why. My god. Talk about overtuned, it is all overtuned and it is unpleasant as fuck. Yeah, essentially I don't even want to deal with this when this is over. And I sort of dread the thing up here, whatever it's called, the castrum I'll call it, of this Zadnor. I sort of dread that because I know that it's just going to be difficult in the end. Because for some reason they overtune it. Again, there's no reason for it, they just seem to think that's a good idea. It's Square Enix. Let's overtune our game and make people hate it. Great idea. You're promoted. Frankly, it's stupid. Yeah, what else is there? Some skirmisher contents, like there's one here called like Breaking the Ice, and it is impossible. I don't actually know how you're supposed to clear it. I tried to look up the fate, there's no videos, there's no proper wiki page. There is a wiki page for it, but it isn't detailed or anything. So you can't even figure out the mechanics. So I just ended up dying over and over again, it seemed, for the crime of attempting it. And there's also this interrupt, which you can't do with Samurai. There's no interrupt ability. So what do I do? Again, there's like the constant question here. It's like I'm stuck here with no fucking options. So skirmish content sucks, and you've got this interesting gimmick here where you get bombarded every now and then, but it doesn't really do anything either. But I sort of wish it bombarded the wildlife. Maybe it does if I can't drag it because the healer's got it. But maybe if you drag it to the bombardment, maybe it does something. Maybe that's like the gimmick here. But it's ridiculous. Like, I fucking swear this shit is overtuned as hell. And yet I'm not even at max rank because of that. It's literally warning me because I can't do anything with these. Like, where the fuck are people farming these? And then apparently to get the critical engagements to spawn, you need to kill enemies like this all around the place. Which just leaves me scratching my head. I've just scratched my head, actually. Because why? Why would I bother? I just want AFK in this place, I think. I don't want to fucking bother anymore. There's no point. It is a joke. And even then you need a riding map as well to get to places quicker, so you've also got that issue to contend with. It's like, great design choice, Square Enix, you've really outdone yourself in the shittiest way possible. Just so much ridiculousness here. I can't believe it. What else is there? There's critical engagement, I think, here. Around here somewhere. It's like similar to the Stormblood raid boss. Actually, a few of them are, actually. I'm not sure. Pretty sure they are. But there's one with the pillars and the wind stuff. Although this one's fire, or elemented, if that's the term. But it's impossible. We had a team of 8, which probably isn't enough, but the mechanics are so fucking overtuned, it's just absurd. You know, they've got the pillar mechanic, which falls on you and kills you, which it does. But it turns out that the timing on it is all wrong. So it just goes down, and then for some reason, like, when it goes down, the thing comes like only seconds before it, and you think, okay, it's gone down, safe. No, the thing was actually coming before it, so it's like, okay, no, it's not safe, so what's the fucking point? It's just ridiculously overtuned. And it just leads me to not want to play this, to be honest, because it's just fucking annoying. I don't even want to spend my time in it. In fact, I'm so far fucking behind on my stuff now because of Deluded as well. I'm trying to get to the last stage of the relic grind because that gives me 2 things at once. I get the fragment, artifacts, is it? I can't remember what they're called, time and artifacts, yeah, they are. But you also get the clusters on the final stage, so that's why I'm getting it this first. So I can unlock this stage and get both. Because you get 2 clusters for the Librum as well. So you get two things at once. But yeah, like, I suppose in terms of speediness as well, like, this is a thing, because you can technically grind this out with relevant raids content for the next step, which is basically these 3 spare parts telling a story from memory. And you get that by doing Alexander, Omega, and what's the other one, Eden, equally. So yeah, there are reasons to do it, but at the same time, I don't really want to, because this is quicker and this is easier, even with the fucking friction here where it's just overtuned as hell. Admittedly, even though I don't like this, it's better to do it here. And then in other cases, like with my hobbies, when I'm done with the skirmishes, I can just go and AFK in here and wait for the next critical encounter, because I don't have the time to play. I don't want to put the time in to play. I'm just going to let others do it for me because of your stupid spawn system. Rather than having things on a timer, like you should have, with like the fates here that spawn anyway. Skirmishes rather. But no, they decided to have it locked behind enemy kills. Thanks, Square Enix. Truly have your heart in the right place. Question mark. Question mark, question mark, question mark. It's genuinely baffling. And it's actually so bad here that I'm considering trying to find basically a plate armor solution, or plate bearer solution rather, for a tank, so I can survive pretty much anything, other than obviously one-shot mechanics, which I'm pretty sure there aren't any way to. But I'd rather do that than what this is, what this garbage is. And I'd rather AFK and kill enemies and do that as well. I might even just go Paladin, like, why not, because I've got heals on that. and like becoming useful. It's a bit more useful than Warrior, admittedly. Just waiting for the next skirmish. Oh no. What else is there even like the quest need to talk about because they're locked. This is at 20, this area, and this is at 22, which is bad, as I said. Is there anything else? Travelling is much worse in this, I think. If I'm not mistaken, it's a lot more wider, I've noticed, because you've got this spanning bit, all this, which is way too big in my opinion. This should be shortened, they should remove an island or two. And then this top bit, which is, I'm going to try and get killed by this, because I don't know what it does. Oh, okay. Will it kill me? Kinda. That's interesting. It stacks as well, so yeah, maybe it does attack enemies as well. Or just whatever's here. Oh, what a fucking clusterfuck, like Jesus Christ. I can't believe how bad this is. I'm just scrolling social media now, and this is proof that they're desperate. You can see it, but the Final Fantasy team seems to be advertising the Dawn Trail as 50% off. Wow. Like I can give a shit. It's just, yeah, that shows you how bad the game is in the state of what it is. It shows you that people are not willing to play it, and it's just lacking. It's just ridiculous. It's literally unbelievable. Fucking load of shite. But yeah, Dawn Trail obviously sucks, and the fact they haven't even reworked any of this stuff is just baffling. And like, let me check Reddit as well. I haven't looked yet because I made a question for this problem, and I want to figure out why I'm dying so quick, why I can't do damage. Like, look at that. Fucking damage, like, you're supposed to do like 8,000 to 13,000 to keep it up, but here it's like, you do so little, it's like fucking useless. And even then, combining these things as well, it doesn't add up. So if I was to do like a big Fuka, whatever, so it's 5,000. That is not enough. And then also combining that, that's 8,000, so barely enough. It's just very poor design. Also, why are we killing that? I guess it's for like spawns and stuff. Oh, fuck it, we ball. I wish I could just take hang all these so that nobody else had to deal with them and ruin it. I do find it annoying. Yeah, I don't really know what else there is to talk about, to be honest. Again, it's my first impressions, it could change at max level, but I don't know. I don't know how you get this buff, like the Rare Fortitude, or the Rare Valor. It seems like it could be handy, I don't know how effective it is though, having said that. Don Fate's just fine without it, or Skirmishes, can keep speaking there. So, I don't know. But again, it's like Disappointment City here. A lot like Occult Crescent was, in my opinion. I think it suffers from the same issues that Occult Crescent did, to be fair. Admittedly, not like the critical and counter stuff of Fate's just going down really quickly. I don't know why that's even a thing. It's a bit dumb. Yeah, it's the same sort of issue, like dying is too punishing. Getting to these places is a bit difficult as well. There's a lot of parallels to draw there. Wait, is this breaking the ice? No. Oh, fuck. I would have done it if it was. Yeah, so I don't really know what else to add, but I better get on with this. Also, why are they so split up? All fucking jank here. Oh god, this is a boss. I hate this. They need to change this as well. Because it's so deceiving. You think, oh, it's just a group of ads. Melt them down. No, turns out it's this guy. That's the one you need. Fucking great. 10 out of 10. Yeah, seriously, fuck this area. I can't wait to be done with this shite. Then maybe try the raid out, but I'm not sure. I've seen some shout chat shenanigans with that, actually. which is quite interesting. It's like top or left, and I think right, left, and right stuff. Well, it's like I think it's like a memory thing, maybe. Hopefully, it's better than Castrum, but I don't know. Anyway, that's my opinion, so let's move on. So, yeah. Anyway, I talked about the DLSS 5 thing already. But there's an interesting encounter I had with enough Final Fantasy 14, all places, about it. And it wasn't the subreddit, it wasn't anything else, but it's just someone wondering what everyone's opinion was on DLSS 5 in a party chat. And, I'm not going to kick someone for their opinion on it. I think you're free to have that opinion. I just take issue with it. And the opinion was that it's not such a bad thing because it has a lot of benefits for games like Final Fantasy XIV. And this is obviously where I bring in the fact that not everyone used to even be against AI, and that's why there is an equal and opposite mass pro AI base. And DLSS is obviously made with AI now, with at least the 5 version. Pretty sure earlier ones did as well, but not this bad. Yeah, we're literally in an era where this is the thing that happens, it seems, and it will fuck us over, essentially. And it sucks because, I think we definitely need to get rid of AI, and a lot of people have taken too long to realise this, which again is why it gets out of hand. I've mentioned this many times before. I warned people about this many times before. But the discussion we had in Final Fantasy XIV was kind of brief. It was like a few sentences back and forth. It was like, what's the problem with DLSS 5 then? Because I said it was slop. And that's pretty much the way to summarise it. And that's sort of asked why. And I just explained that all the problems with AI and like the data centres and stuff, how it's using so much water built on communities, and finally, one of the biggest ones we're going to see a problem with literally creating Skynet. And this one sort of resonated with them, which is good, because I don't think many people are aware that that is actually what can happen, because it's literally been in discussion. They're literally training drones and stuff to kill people, which is fucking wrong as hell. It's just crazy. And I really don't understand how anyone could justify even doing that. The fact they're turning into murder machines, essentially. So it's even crazier when people try to justify it, and this person didn't, luckily. But it's kind of joked about, maybe I'll become a Terminator when AI kills me. Yeah, I guess so? Question mark. This is why I don't show my face on the internet. That's because you can't identify me. You might identify me by voice, but good luck finding my voice in public. Guarantee you'll never hear me, because I'm that fucking quiet. In fact, the decibels, like, I'm actually talking as if I'm about a feet or two away from the microphone. So you can imagine how quiet this is, and like even quieter than you probably want to get. It stops hearing after a certain level. Yeah, like, I can literally get whisper quiet, and you won't even notice. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, but anyway. But that discussion made me realise that people really are in the dark about these things and don't realise the issues. Because as much as we can criticise DLSS 5, rightfully so, I do find it a bit frustrating that people just aren't even bringing the attention to anyone else. Like, I have brought it up to people I know, briefly anyway. I've said publicly to them, I don't like AI. I was even asked, like, why don't I use it? Because I'm quite a techie guy and quite nerdy as well. But I have standards and dignity, essentially. That's what drives me to not use it. And even then, I'm not entirely against some of the ideas that AI poses. I just think that people need to really think about the consequences of it, of using it and relying on it in their day-to-day lives. And one of the things I wanted to say actually in the discussion earlier was actually to support open source stuff. So rather than supporting something like ChatGPT or I don't know, something that enhances images, for example, but online, or actually not necessarily enhance but generates, support something like upscale. Like I've used that a few times for wallpapers that are very low resolution, and it has mostly works. It's made it much better, much clearer. In fact, one of the images I'm using on Foldy at the moment is using that, I think. It's like a picture of Santorini, Greece, one of the areas in Greece. And yeah, it looks pretty damn good. You won't get that without Upscale, and Upscale is free fucking software. And it's pretty reliable, and from what I've used so far on it, it even works for other pictures. Like, it's fucking crazy. It's not just wallpapers, it's family photos, it's anything you can think of, really. And that's why it's so good. And as far as like generative AI, you shouldn't use a data center. You should just download basically an open source one with all the things loaded on it, assuming it's like the one you want. So I don't know, maybe you want to generate something stupid like a family photo of yourselves, but in costumes that you wouldn't normally be able to get into. But you download like a human sort of data set, and you have that locally, and then you generate AI images based on that. I genuinely don't have a problem with that for like personal use, as long as it's not public, obviously, like being used or sold for entertainment purposes and stuff. But it's obviously because it's in the public eye, and also it's like purchasable by the public. That's when it becomes a fucking problem. That's when it becomes a ridiculous amount of work and disaster from the consequences of it. But it also shows that for the people who are like equally on the opposite side there who support it, there are still problems in that, because as much as we can find the good things in everything, it's a bit like saying, oh, let's find the good things in a war criminal, let's find the good things in a rapist. Like, literally is along the same lines. You might think, what the fuck you want about? These aren't even similar things. And you're right. But if we're looking at good things to say about bad people, then essentially we're just falling into that group of, well, let's let them free. We have to draw the line somewhere. So when people are propping AI, much like Jensen Huang, I almost forgot his name now, apparently he's made a response. I'm yet to actually hear it, because I haven't actually looked into it yet. But when people like that make a response, it's like, why are you trying to justify what he's saying? Why are you trying to be on his side? Billionaires are not your friend. Even then, if you don't know the person, it's even worse, because there's not much reason to actually believe them in that sense. And a lot of what he's saying obviously will be up to criticism, because, well, AI is a flawed product as it currently stands and as it always will be. So it's frankly ridiculous, and a lot of what they say in these resources are marketing anyway. It is literally just another marketing gimmick, because that's what they do. It's the same with like the burger mugging thing, which happened recently. That was literally a marketing gimmick. It's obvious from the get-go. It's like, oh, why don't the CEO like his fucking burger? It's obviously because people will buy it, try it, make content on it, win. So they made profit. Because people are idiots. thanks. This is where humanity is going, and it also really disappointed me that Charlie even did that. Fucking most critical. It's a pretty shameful display, in my opinion. That's literally why they did it. Why else do you think they would? And I think people do sort of view billionaires and CEOs as really stupid, but at the same time, when there's like a marketer or pro marketer, whoever, who's getting paid the same amount of money or similar to, do you really think they're going to roll over and say, I'm not doing this? No, they're going to take the fucking money and they're going to do what it takes. So one of the methods of marketing, obviously, is that they'll do this sort of thing. They'll make a whole drama about it, a whole fucking controversy. And the same with AI. The reason why it's so outrageous and why it gets attention is because that's what they intended. And it's so bizarre that people even give it the attention. I still can't wrap my head around it. Yeah, people are also just corruptible and selfish. I think that should go without saying, but people need to be aware of it. And I think a lot of the time as well, people can be very biased towards it. Well, I might accidentally have some AI images somewhere, maybe wallpapers or artwork that I don't even know, but I try to avoid it as much as I can. And even then, like, sometimes there is a line to draw. Because how much is too much, and do you actually support it with money? No? Okay, continue. So, it really depends. But people are corrupted by that fact. They think they can get away with all this stuff, and I forgot to mention the other thing in the discussion is that I said people would exploit it, like DLSS 5, and it'll become much worse. Prediction, by the way, very easy and very obviously going to happen. People are going to exploit it to apply it to real life. They're going to first put in games where they'll start unclothing characters. I think I probably mentioned this briefly. Actually I did, yeah. I remember I was running Castrum, I was doing it in Final Fantasy XIV. But not only that, one of the other things I realised is they're going to put it on glasses, and they're basically going to allow you to unclothe anyone on the street. Someone's grandson, someone's granddaughter, anyone. Like even Trump if you fucking desire, but I don't know why the fuck you would. Like Jesus, I have to nuke my eyes after that. But that's essentially what it would do. And also that's the other thing. It would just feed you propaganda as well. One of the things I saw recently, I think, I'm not sure if it was AI or what. I think it was actually Samurai Guitarist. I think it was. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure there's like a video on AI music and why it grabs people's attention, and a lot of it came down to propaganda essentially, and how it's going to be a way to bring people to a side, politically or musically, and that's one of the dangers of it. It's going to change your perspective of everything, and the moment you start wearing glasses or Neuralink, whatever it is, you're going to start seeing everything in a different light, or darkness as I'd call this. It's nothing is going to be as it seems. It's going to say, like, it's going to have a label above, say, a black person's head saying enemy. It's going to have labels above other people's heads. Like, Black Mirror had a fucking episode on this, by the way. Like, I don't know if anyone remembers. I think it was White Christmas. Yeah, I think it was actually. It's one of the darkest fucking episodes there is in that series. But basically, other than the parts leading up to the end, or actually even before that, there was this identifier thing where basically this father was not allowed to see his supposed daughter, although it wasn't actually his daughter in the end. Sorry, spoiler. But they had this technology where they can block people out entirely for themselves and their daughters, and this is literally what I'm fucking talking about. Black Mirror had the episode first, and it was all the way back in 2013, I think, which is even crazier to think about. But the fact they even predicted that, and it's like they're going to happen now, is just nuts. And the fact you can block someone, again, it's just exploitable. You know, someone can just suddenly choose to block you for no reason, and the world is fucked. And, you know, even someone like Trump, who's fucking idiotic enough to basically take on this stuff, take on AI hardware and software, he will wear some of these glasses and have everything catered to his wants and desires. So I don't know, maybe he wants to see underage children naked, that's probably one of them. But the other thing is probably he's gonna... Damn it, what was it? I was gonna say... I don't know, maybe he's hear things that people want to say. Oh yeah, that's it. He's gonna block out other politicians, so basically his issue or hang up with the Democrats, he's probably gonna put some blockage on them through this either the Neuralink or AI glasses, whatever the fuck you call them, AR. He's gonna block them, and that's how it's gonna work out. And there's gonna be wars over this shit. You're gonna ask people to target this type of person, and suddenly there's like a worldwide blockage of an ethnicity or a race, and you start seeing blurs of foreign people. It's a disaster waiting to happen. And sort of relating to, again, the another Charlie video I saw, nobody is safe from AI, because even face identification is dangerous in itself, because it doesn't work for starters, but when it does work, I guarantee you it's gonna fucking suck. I'm not really defending criminals in that sense, but it's when the public gets access to these things that it becomes an issue, much like everything else. So again, I feel like a lot of these things are linked. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add though. Got other things to do now, so yeah. So let's move on. I'll try and make this brief, but one of the biggest loopholes I just realised in Pokemon is actually to do with two things. The first thing is aging, and I think you can take that with a grain of salt, because technically Pokemon do age, but it's kind of hard to even identify, because in the games it does exist. But in the anime, it does. I specifically remember a Sun and Moon episode that was very sad, because it involved a Pokemon passing away. I think most people will probably remember that if they've seen it. Yeah, obviously it means that they do age and even probably get ill as well. Like, we've seen plenty of cases where they are injured or ill. Even though the HP system is like a thing that sort of protects them from that, it doesn't seem to protect them from everything. Which is also kind of a creepy element as well, because obviously they do the bat thing, and that's generally based on the HP system rather than, oh, they do this to that Pokemon. It's not like they're experiencing pain in that. But outside of battling, it just seems to be like a real fucking battlefield or something. It's always weird. But the other thing is about evolution. I got thinking about this because of, weirdly enough, I don't know if it's an editor mistake or what, but a Nick Nocturnal video. It's talking about the, basically Mick Gordon and how he created a masterpiece of a soundtrack in Doom, essentially, and also reshaped the metal as we know it. And he brought up a piece about, or a bit in the script about evolution of metal, and one of the images that showed up was a very incorrectly but also with enough accurate sort of evolution line of like Dragonite. Yeah, Dragonite. Can't remember the name for some reason. And it had 5 evolutions. And that got me thinking, hang on. Like, how do Pokemon even fucking evolve? So there's already that sort of issue, like they turn from small anatomy of the body and organs to large in a matter of seconds, and there's natural to it as well. There's so many questions about that. I've never really realised it before, but holy crap. That is massive. Like, you couldn't even imagine Eevee sort of turning into a Flareon though. You'd probably see like the coloration. But what about Eevee into, I don't know, like Glaceon? Like, that'd be kind of creepy in a way, because Eevee would lose all his fur. And maybe even Glaceon as well. Their fur, rather. Yeah, it's just an interesting thought though. Never really considered it until I saw that image. There's like the fourth stage being a more coloured version of Dratini. Yeah, it's quite fascinating anyway. I just felt like bringing it up. It's not really a sort of serious topic in that sense, it's like a fun one. Just wondering how the hell you'd even pull off a Pokemon evolution sort of thing. And also it's kind of reflective of what it should be, that image that is obviously fake. And so it's incorrect, it's just fake. But yeah, there should be more stages of the evolution. So I find quite fascinating. Anyway, I better move on. I'm tired, I've got to do stuff. So yeah, another day in hell, when you know it. So yeah, one of the stories recently that really grounded my gears is to do with the Chalamet sisters. What? Sisters, I mean. I don't even know if tester is even a word. Hopefully not. That might be a slur. But anyway, much like the sisters, it seems like they're a slur as well. So, the story is basically that they are an influencer. Watch this one with Scrandle again. They make like food stories and food influencers and stuff, apparently. But it seems that they didn't give the publicity to one of the relevant places that they were, well, supposedly going to make a story about on Instagram. So, strangely enough, they were in this drama. They didn't even pay for the food, which is the point I'm going to talk about anyway. But anyway, nothing good of it. They faked a lawsuit sort of thing. A friend lawsuit, but faked every detail of it. Yeah, it's just entirely fucked, and it's also just a sign of corruption as well. And they're also very desperate by the sounds of it, trying to make up stories about kissing celebrities and stuff. It's just nuts, and not in a good way. But yeah, that thing about not paying for the food is just insane to me, because I think if you are a popular and well-meaning influencer or even brand, you should just fucking pay for the food. Like, come the fuck on. You're assuming you're making enough money to get to these places to begin with and then be able to stay there. You're not paying for the fucking food, which is just, it's greedy. And especially if it's a local restaurant, it's just nuts. I remember the time that I went out to a sort of social group gathering at a new restaurant that had opened. I think it had been open for a few weeks, but it's a vegan place, which was amazing. I really enjoyed the food there, and I wish I could go again, but it's too far away. Obviously I moved since, but yeah, what was great about it was it just served up amazing vegan food that was tasty. And the thing is, I didn't realise that we had to pay for the food there and then, rather than, well, what was originally planned, which was a deposit. So I assumed this deposit, which was already kind of pricey in its own way, I think it was like £15 or something. I assumed that paid for it, and then I ended up leaving because of just wanting to get back home. Essentially, I finished the food, had dessert, and yeah, essentially called it a day. And they said, I remember the people saying, "Did you pay?" It's like, yeah. That wasn't that what deposit was for? Oh, okay. And just left me to it, it seems. But awkwardly, it turns out that wasn't the case, and I didn't pay for my food, which fucking annoys me because I would have, and they paid for mine, but I ended up apologising for it to the restaurant manager myself because I felt guilty about that. It's genuinely good food, and even though it's expensive as fuck, I essentially paid for it again as a sort of apology, and luckily the place is still running to this day. So I was a bit worried that it might fail, but I think it's in a good spot, so yeah. But you know, even if it's in my power to fucking pay for this food, why the hell can't others? It's just crazy to me. It's again obvious signs of corruption and greed, and this doesn't help anyone. And especially today, where even a little bit of kindness can just go a long way, it's just absolutely insane to me. Again, when the thing at the front of people's minds is making money or even being popular, this is one of the examples today, you just get absurdly fucking burnt out because there is essentially nothing there to do. It's just frustrating. It's unbelievable how bad the world has gotten in terms of tolerance and just getting to accept people even for who they are, and just this as well. Paying for the fucking food you essentially went there for, that you potentially liked. It's just insanity. So obviously I'm not happy about the situation either. It does really annoy me. It feels like it shouldn't have happened, but because of the nature of people and the unpredictability, you know, anyone could be anything, and it doesn't really fucking change. Like, the story is always the same. You never know. It could even be a case like the people I watch online could be a fucking, I don't know, murderer or even just abuser. Like, you never fucking know, and that's the problem. Admittedly, there are personality traits you can look out for to spot those sort of things. It's definitely common. I've definitely seen like narcissists when I know them anyway. They're quite good at identifying them, weirdly enough. M was a narcissist, and yeah, like some of the other people I watch, like even like the channels which are supposedly supposed to be safe spaces, and seemingly informal, or I don't know, like entertaining as well. But I was definitely unsubscribed from channels over time because of their narcissism. Like Linus Tech Tips was a bit like that, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And they just became greedy as well, so just, yeah, for that, it's not worth getting involved, in all honesty. But yeah, anyway, I don't know where I'll stand. But obviously the message here is clear. Pay for your fucking food, you degenerates. Well, now I can finally talk about this movie, because I've seen it, and I first found it through a long time ago, and then I just couldn't find anywhere to watch it. Then saw the South Park episode referencing it, and figured I could find out how to watch it and try it. It was supposedly on Netflix, but then it disappeared because they have stupid rules and stupid ideas, as usual. So as a result, I had to find another way, and I did, thankfully. There's plenty out there, it seems, but just not on the streaming services for some stupid fucking reason. Like absolute morons. But yeah, this movie is interesting because it isn't necessarily a favourite of mine, but it is different in areas and a bit ahead of its time in other ways. It's very strange. I don't really know how to describe the movie, and I think it really shines in the animation. It starts with some stop motion, also it's like hand drawn and stuff. There's like bits in that which I find quite fascinating. The hand drawn stuff is impressive. Like, just is. And the fact it's all hand drawn, actually, like all they fucking say is entirely hand drawn. And you can see like where things are maybe a bit drawn on and others are not. It really varies. But then there comes with the other good bit, which is I guess the music. Sort of hard rock rather than metal. But there was one song that really caught me off guard, which was I think Black Sabbath with Dio. It's like, hang on, I know this one. It's one of their more hard rocky sort of sounding songs. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, Mob Rules, that's it. Very good choice. It did suit the movie for what it's going for as well. It has an interesting soundtrack, I'd say. It's only not something I'd listen to again. That's just my preference mainly. So yeah, it's got that. But what else is trying to think. I guess I'll just go on to like the next one, which is the like the story. Do I do a story? I think the story is very weird. There's not really any characters. Having said that, but the story doesn't feel great in my opinion. It does feel a bit lazy and a bit sort of cut off from the end. The ending especially was a bit weird. I didn't really get why they skipped over some bits. And they said they were going to do something. It's a bit strange to me, in my opinion. Could be that I'm missing something, but I don't know. The thing is, these movies are in such a way that I don't know if it's even possible to discover some of it. It's very strange in either way. What else is there? I don't really know. Like, the story is just a combination of other stories, and it really varies. It's got stuff from fantasy and stuff from the future, it seems. And yeah, I'd say it's unique in that sense. But it's like, as I said, a series of stories. It's supposed to be telling a story about Lochnar, was it? I can't remember the name. Lochnar something. Something like that. And interesting thing with Lochnar is that it's like this being that persists through time and space and existence. It's kind of crazy to think about. This is one of the parts where I feel like it's ahead of its time, because where a lot of things are trying to make alien godly things more sort of I don't know, like creepy or just very godlike in a way. This one's like, oh, we're just making it a green orb. Like, great, okay. I can respect that, because not many places or really series do that. That's unique. But weirdly enough, I could see where like shows like Futurama possibly got their inspiration, and I could swear I could hear some of the voice actors as well in this. I could be wrong. It's quite a while ago, like 1981. This was released, and yeah, I imagine it was a shock to a lot of people and very sought after in school, because why wouldn't you? Imagine getting your own VHS fucking tape and a tape player and being able to play this and ports on the right moment. Which leads into the animation. Yeah, this is way ahead of its time, I think, if I haven't already said. As I said, the thing with the animation is it's quite smooth as well. It's quite a high frame rate from what I could tell. It's not the most impressive one I've seen, but it's definitely out there. But there are areas where it feels rough. I will admit, like some of the lip syncing doesn't work, and some of the action is a bit weird. Like, there's this part where a woman swings a sword at some point, and you'll see eventually, if you do watch it, where the swing just feels very slow. I'm not sure if it's storyboarded like that or what. It's a very bizarre choice to me to do that, because it felt like it should have been more powerful, given it's a fucking sword and they have weight to them. I think, anyway, I could be wrong. I just felt that was a bit strange, and there's all other areas where it's a bit weird. I was a bit unsure at the beginning with sort of story character wise, with what seems to be an underage girl. It's a bit like, oh no, please don't go there. Thankfully, didn't. So that's out of the way. So that does lead on to one of the other things, I guess, that I do find a bit off-putting, but at the same time, holy boobage. Like, holy fuck. There are a lot of boobs in this. It's actually kind of crazy. I think it's obviously sort of drawn or based on something, from what I could tell. Like, it's almost like it's like, fuck, I can't speak today. Like, I don't know, like, traced, I guess, is the term. Except for the boobs, the bodies and stuff. And you can see it clearly in like the New York story, where the woman suddenly goes from hourglass figure to chubby. I don't know what that was about. I thought that was a very bizarre sort of oversight. Yeah, it was quite interesting. By the way, there aren't any sex scenes. I think most you see butt naked guys, but there's not really anything special here, in all honesty. Just think it's a bit lackey in some areas, in terms of that anyway, and as for an adult feel, it's quite cool. I can say that happily. There's nothing special. But yeah, overall it's okay. I don't know if it deserved the homage, to be honest. To be honest, South Park did a better version. Yeah, as to be said. I do find this a bit disappointing compared to that. Yeah, it's very strange to me, either way. Yeah, don't really know what else to add, to be honest. Pretty much touched on most things there. Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, right now I can finally focus because I've got fucking stuff to do. What else is there? There's some interesting dialogue here and there. Not all of it's great. I think it's a bit rushed to me. I do like the UFO. I forgot about that in the Hexagon story. It literally takes place in the Hexagon. Fascinating. Has that, which is fascinating. What else is there? I'm trying to look for my notes, because there are a few things. Some humour here and there, not all the time. It's very inconsistent. I wouldn't say it's worth it for like a comedy. Some of the designs of the characters are great, even the side characters can be interesting. Like the band, for example, and the final story. Can't even think, sorry, and the robot, the aliens, fucking brilliant. Yeah, the aliens were in the Hexagon one. Also, some weird stuff as well. Like the car in New York one didn't make too much sense. It's quite an accurate prediction to an extent, like the drones and stuff. I was pretty sure they weren't a thing back then. This one was popular if they were a thing. It's quite interesting in areas, but like this cab being decked out with a bunch of things is confusing to me. I genuinely do not understand what the point of that was, and also how it works. I don't really figure that out. It's strange, as I said. What else? Can't think at the moment. No, it's what's coming to me. But as I said, overall, it's an okay movie. It's not anything special. Like, I don't understand why there's such, I guess, hype around this in terms of why South Park made it. I don't homage to it because it's not perfect at all. It's quite flawed in a lot of ways. Um, so I guess like the boob representation as well. Like, if I had to nitpick, come on, where are the smaller ones? Like, what the fuck? And there are definitely some weird scenes in it as well. I think the weirdest one was actually the Hexagon one, and also just the entire thing with the robot and the woman. It's fucking nuts. Like, the question as well, are you circumcised? Fucking, it's a difficult humour, but it's also just extremely strange. I think that's probably part of the magic though of that. Yeah, it's definitely not worthy of the Hall of Fame for me, but you know, it could be closer if it was done better. But I still think it has a long way to go. But yeah, I'd say it's okay. Not making my things of 2026. I forgot the year though. It's definitely not making that list, just because it's just inherently flawed. I know people might not like that, but that's the reality, unfortunately. I can only speak for experience, and that's it. And what I think about it, and what I thought of it. So yeah, I'll write a brief review so I just remember anyway. And yeah, and I'll have to move on and do my hobby. Yeah, that's all. So, a year or two ago I tried a series called The League of Gentlemen. It's a UK series, it's not a movie by the way, just to be clear. It's a movie, but it's not the same thing I don't think. But it's on BBC iPlayer, I think. Is it? I can't remember. It's on something anyway. Very hard to find. That's the first thing I noticed. I was looking it up and trying to find where do you stream this, and the only place I could find was BBC. So, yeah. Which kind of sucks because it is region restricted and they don't like VPNs. So again, good luck finding it. Don't blame me if you have to sail the seas. But luckily they remembered that I live in the UK, because they don't always. So I've been watching it. Actually, I watched it a few years ago and I'll explain why I stopped. So immediately with like the dark humour and me dealing with everything in real life with M and stuff, I was not with the highest hopes for this series essentially, because it just seemed to me like it was going to be a problem, because it was either too dark with like dog stuff, like putting the dog to sleep even though it's the wrong dog, or even just the various nature of it with basically torturings and killings. And you know, I'm not really sure about that sort of stuff, and I didn't realise it was a horror comedy rather than a dark comedy, which it kind of is, but it's horror comedy and that's what it's described as. So I'm not into horror. I don't really like horror at all. I detest it. It's not interesting, it's not fun, and I gotta shit my bowels out. But yeah, I forgot where I was, but on the outset I just wasn't into this anyway. But I wanted to give it a try just in case, because I needed something to, well, make me laugh and cheer me up. Well, it didn't. It made me more depressed, which is not good for a comedy show. First issue, laugh tracks. And it started off great with the granny reading out the letter. I thought that was fucking genius. There's a good sense of humour there, but it seems to be lost after that, from what I could tell. Also, it revolves around this guy and Tubbs. I can't remember the guy's name. Fuck, I'm not good with names. And yeah, they're just essentially serial killers and stuff, not really a spoiler. I think everyone knows this. And yeah, he gets into trouble, I guess, because they're trying to build a road on the place into their shop. And Tubbs is seemingly controlled by someone else, by this guy, I mean, not someone else. The husband, from what I could tell. And yeah, it's just stuck there. With no easy way out. like, what to out here? There isn't much to explain, but I'll explain why I stopped watching anyway. I'll get to that point right away. Mainly the dog being put to sleep thing was, I don't know, kind of sad. It's kind of like, okay, guess he might find this funny, but I don't. I find that a horrible situation because of my empathy, and I think you do need, I can't say apathy to actually enjoy this, I think. Like, genuinely, I do think you do. Because that seems to be who it appeals to, rather than people like me who are very empathetic and no caring. That's not a good label to give myself, from me, but it's fine if others do it. Yeah, but as I said, there's like troubles with this, and the first thing that really waved a red flag at me was the scene at the beginning of episode 2, which was a dog being tied to a bicycle for some reason, with a leash, and it is a real dog. I literally haven't found any proof that it's not. I've watched it back several times before, and I couldn't figure out. I was still knowing. Like, did they actually use a real dog here? Because this seems like animal abuse. And everyone's in denial, saying, oh, no, they can't have. No, they wouldn't have done that. It's be wrong. Even though they literally just did drag the dog by its neck unwillingly. So it's always sat very weirdly with me. No, it's not nice at all. I just don't really know if that's real or not. It's hard to say. I had people telling me that it was CGI, but I don't see it. Because CGI at this time was at 2000s, I think. Early CGI is not even that amazing. I know, like 2000 what? No, like the movie 300 was around this time, wasn't it? That had some fucking amazing graphics technology. But this, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I don't really think it was CGI. It's quite obviously not as well. Well, to get that shot and do it perfectly in frame in CGI somehow, also have the landscape and stuff. Yeah, I don't believe it somehow. I want to be proven wrong, but still. And I watched it back recently, and that was the main reason I stopped watching. It's because I was unsure about how they treat the animals here, because it seems a bit off, as I said. But I tried it again, and yeah, still the same thing. But it gets even weirder because there is this character, upon further reflection, they seem to be making fun of trans people here, which I don't know if that's aged well or not. I think at the time maybe a bit funny, but it's the 2000s, and yeah, our knowledge was getting better on everyone. And basically the taxi driver in this town, or is it village, I can't remember if it's a village, is a trans woman by the sound and looks of it, supposedly. We can also hear her talk, and yeah, there's a lot of references to that, and she keeps talking about it as well. Then in the 4th episode, which I'm watching right now, I'm only 10 minutes through, so it's not really anything to report on. Basically, she's actually talking about it a bit more. Was it episode 3? I think it was episode 3 actually, I might be misremembering. But there's this really good joke, which I have to admit made me laugh. It's not too offensive, I don't think, but it depends. I'm not the one who's really that offended by most things. But the joke was one of the women in the fucking back of the cab was talking, and they were having a conversation, and she suddenly said, I don't want that to give me the willies, in reference to something horrible or horror related. And obviously the cab driver responded and said, well, you're not getting mine, it's coming off in a few days. Fuck's sake. It's dumb. Yeah, I guess it is a bit offensive, but at the same time, just don't give people what they want. I don't know. I think it would keep starting today. I think even if I transitioned into a woman, I'd have to keep my knob. There's no fucking way I'll get rid of it. It's too special to me. And yeah, either way, it's not really for me to decide though whether something's offensive or stepping the line, but there is even episode 4 here which has some interesting bits already. There's also something like, what is it? I'm trying to remember what it was now. That's it, the homosexuality thingy for the school. For children aged 9 to 12. And I called it AIDS in a Bag. That's literally what they said. Or what I said. Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ. That's a bit dodgy, and that's the other thing in episode 2. Somebody says like fox hunters out of the fucking like in this town. Like, it's really weird. I can't tell if they're like Tory loving or what. It's just such a weird fucking show, and I'm not sure about it. But in this homosexuality class in episode 4 at the beginning here, they introduce themselves and they say like, you might remember us from what was it? I can't remember what it said. I should need to look at the notes if there is any around here. We did white chocolate about racism. Yeah, that was it. It's fucking funny. I got a bit, but again, it's like trying to offend you. So at the same time, it's not even a big deal. I honestly don't think this is really anything to really get really rolled up about. It's pointless too. And again, it's like being and gone. Much like a lot of South Park, much like when they had the episode where Randy was essentially saying the N-word and apologising to Jesse Jackson, I think it was. That's what I'm talking about. This sense of humour has a place, but I don't think we should be offended if it is intended to do that or not. That could just be weird, and even then, like 9/11 jokes, there are plenty now, and there never used to be. But I think people make a joke of it now because I think we were expected to take it seriously, and we can't. Even though it sucks for the victims, and obviously the people traumatised by it, no doubt. It's still not something that we can take seriously because it is obviously a conspiracy now rather than a reality. Now, yes, it did happen, but the reason it happened is what's suspicious here, and not the fact that there were many victims in that. Well, I've been traumatised by videos of it, actually. I'm not even joking. I've seen people jump out of it, especially like thinking about the last moments and that. It's something fucking else. It's horrible. But it has to be said that, yeah, like last 9/11 jokes may be offensive. They're there for a reason. And it's different when it's obviously about a minority or race or anything really. But we have to sort of make fun of things as well. That has to be said. That said though, what isn't fun is this show. I just didn't like it. A lot of the humour didn't land on me. Didn't make me laugh out loud. The job seekers thing is kind of funny at times, but it's not laugh out loud funny. A lot of the humour just is there, and I basically describe it as, and excuse this sort of relation, Monty Python writing dark comedy. Yeah, take that as you will. But it does feel a lot like a Monty Python sketch from the ones I've seen, obviously the movies, which I did enjoy, just to be clear. But it does feel a bit like that, just in a darker sense, and it's not really my sort of thing. Because it has stupid bits here and there. There's literally in the first episode, I think it was, or was it second? It's like a guy holding someone at gunpoint for telling a joke. Like, fuck's sake. And then it's like, oh, that's a good joke, okay, carry on. And he puts the gun away. I thought that was good. But yeah, it's hit or miss really, and the laugh track doesn't do this any justice in my opinion. I think it does like detract from it, in my opinion. I think it's a big problem. The laugh tracks in anything just become absolutely fucking insufferable. Like, it's actually absurd how bad they are. I can't believe it. I remember when Red Dwarf removed the laugh track, and you know, fair enough. Also, what's going on this night time? But you know, it felt like nothing without it because we're so used to it. After what, 6 seasons was it at that time? I'll say at the time I wasn't born then. I don't think. It's long after I watched the entire series, and I was surprised when they removed the laugh track and it became modern. So yeah, it's very strange as an experience. Just some weird things, I guess. But yeah, League of Gentlemen. I don't know. I think for the first time ever, I'm gonna sort of watch it because I only rate this episode as okay. It's not a series I can recommend. If it's on, I'd turn over the channel. To be honest, if it was on TV, I didn't really find it that entertaining, and still don't. And there are also some weird fucking moments in it. Like, this is the thing with the writing here, or direction as well. Like, it's like the first or second episode, I'm pretty sure they're like baiting a certain audience into this. They're like showing an underage girl doing a fucking handstand in a skirt. Like, what the fuck? Nobody thought to remove the scene or censor it? Like, again, as I said, it appeals to a certain audience, and I just don't get why that was left in. And it's even weirder that we also have these scenes now where they're in a school. Previously it wasn't even a thing. Yeah, and I guess nothing is free of being made fun of in that sense as well. Like, for sure, has a place, like South Park has. I don't know. It's very strange to me that all this. So I don't really know. I keep saying not my problem. Said again. Yeah, it's very hard to enjoy. It has to be said, but I'm gonna watch it through anyway and see what happens. But I don't have high expectations in the slightest, like, at all. Also, this show can fucking suck a fat one, as far as I care. But yeah, I'll finish it and see what happens anyway. It's not really got anything interesting story-wise, in my opinion, and it does sort of feel reminiscent of the, I don't know, like even United Kingdom recently, because they don't like non-local people coming there, even though it's like their own. It sort of feels very reminiscent of that, just all the racism happening now, which is quite ironic. I also have to criticise that it's not really ahead of its time in any other way. I'm not saying it needs representation. I think shows can be fine without it. But at the same time, it does feel a bit off-putting when it's like representing them in a different way. So yeah, I guess avoid this if you don't like anything that I've said. But it's really a show that comes with the trigger warning. You may not find this funny, you may not like it, and it may be offensive. Yeah, I better move on because I've got stuff to do. Got a dungeon to explore. Dungy only. So yeah. Just a reminder, because people are again forgetting such a fucking important thing. I don't really understand how they are. Because it's such a big deal as it is. Yeah, so the reminder is about Billionaires and how they are not your friend. It's essentially that. Because there isn't really anything else to it. I think one of the biggest issues is people just seem to put too much trust in Billionaires to do the right thing and expect them to change as well. what the fuck are we even coming towards? I really don't understand what goes through people's heads when they think this. They think, oh, he must shop at the same grocery store I do. No, they fucking don't. They probably buy it online, they probably get something fancy. And, like, what the fuck do I even say? It's quite obvious. You need to think through their minds rather than yours. Because obviously you're in a different perspective. But also when it comes to that, I have to mention the various issues with just what it does to people to be rich. And I've thought on this a lot about how to be anti-corruption. And to be anti-corruption is to just let go of things that would otherwise make you greedy. So if you become stupidly rich, your first thought shouldn't be, let's spend it on a new car or a new house, whatever it takes, whatever it is, rather. And it should be on, instead, helping other people and even getting yourself in a reasonable situation rather than an exaggerated situation, which is what a lot of billionaires and even celebrities have. So that's the difference basically, and that's how it works and it should work. I think that's really important. And that's like a big deal, honestly, because I don't think you'd function in society without that, and that's why so many billionaires don't even function. Because if they were to swap places with us, they would struggle. Like, they won't be able to get the same things that they did. And then if we were in their situation, guarantee you the average person is going to do exactly what the billionaire did. So in a sense, it's not worth even criticising them if you can't even wrap your head around the issues that come with it, like the consequences. But then you would ignore them because you have essentially money at your disposal. So it is an object. So yeah, it literally means nothing to you. I think there was another thing I was thinking with this. Like, why do they delude themselves? It's a question that I would see often. People wonder how they can be so disconnected from reality, like even with NVIDIA DLSS 5, with that apparent response. I still haven't seen it, I don't think. My watch later play list keeps getting bigger and I don't really have any way around that. I'm going to assume the response is extremely tone deaf. No surprise. But this only happens because of the types of people these people are. They are rich people and they hang around with other rich people. So, of course, they're going to have a fucking different mindset, different friends, different ideas. That's probably how, unfortunately, like Elon Musk probably got to where he is, spending too much time around fucking billionaires. Weirdly enough, he used to be quite respected, and to see him just go completely downhill is insane. Like, holy shit. I remember even back in like 2016, I think, it was like the announcement of Neuralink, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe this ain't good. And yeah, turns out it was really horrible. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wants it. So that's where that goes. But that's why they delude themselves. It's because they don't hang around with the average person, and you don't even need to necessarily disguise yourself, even just like pretend that you care. Like, that's the thing. I can understand from a perspective of being insanely rich and then going around in public only to be, like, I don't know, mugged or essentially you're a high target for a lot of people, but if you didn't have the fucking money, that wouldn't happen to begin with. So it just often leads to that. Like, what are you doing? You're sacrificing dignity and respect in favour of this, like, more money, like more whatevers. Again, money can buy you pretty much anything you want. That's why it's so fucking sickening. That's even why you have things like, for example, like even back a while ago, like the Roblox CEO trying to make Roblox for some reason a dating game for children, with adults in the dating game as well. Yeah, well, we could see that quite wrong, couldn't we? But to the CEO, no, apparently not. And yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with people about investigating the CEO there, because he's suspicious as fuck. And if it's becoming normalised, as it's by example of the President of the United States at the moment, then yeah, there is obviously something wrong here. So maybe it is full corruption and greed and also delusion also playing a part in it. It's just extremely fucked. And I genuinely don't know how all this shit even occurs, because it just doesn't make sense. So something weird is going on this site. Oh. Anyway. What else is I'm trying to think. I think that's just the crux of it, really, is delusion from being too rich, essentially, and you need to get rid of it to understand what it's going to take, or how you're going to change for the better. Again, I often think about how I'd spend the money, but not in the way that other people would. I've had the question before, like, how would I spend millions of pounds if I won the lottery? Or like, how would I spend my lottery money? And the simple answer is, I'd have to think about it. Unfortunately, I'd reply, I don't know a lot, which is incorrect, because I would reply, I have to think about how not to use it on myself. So that's the best way to go about it. Like, I should be secondary in a world where people need them fucking money to live, to survive. It's just, that's why it gets incredibly frustrating, because people are corruptible themselves without realising it. And with that money, of course, they would. It's just such a large sum of money. That's probably why people even go far further than that and start robbing stores, start robbing Pokemon cards, of all fucking things. And it always comes back to that. Just greed and sacrificing morals for that as well. Which is, again, very much a mindset like the CEOs. No surprises there. Pretty much obvious from the get-go. Because yeah, CEOs, believe it or not, they rob you, depending on the products, but they certainly can rob you. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're robbing you like any other robbery. No guns to the head or emptying cash or a store wallet. It could also just be the product. Netflix is pretty much a scam. It always has been. I think of others, like maybe Amazon Prime as well. Yeah, it's just extremely frustrating. I don't think there's really much else to add here. I can't really think. Very tired at the moment, so that's why I'm feeling like this. Also got exhaust, that's weird as well. Okay, my body hasn't pulse gas in over an hour. So there's been something changing there, which is good. And also no urge to go to the bathroom. Okay, that's different. I've been suffering with flare-ups constantly, and now I don't know, maybe it's the medication that's kicking in. Could be it. I don't know. But anyway, I got to move on. So also haven't got much to do. Still need to get some sleep, Damn it, I'm fucking tired. So, Zadnor final impressions. Yeah, I don't know if I've already done this. I need to double check. Let's see. Not awful first impressions. No, I haven't done it yet. Anyway, let's do the final impressions. I haven't done the thingy, the big critical encounter. I forgot what it's called. I call it Delilah because I can't pronounce it properly. It's not my little in joke, so hey there, Delilah. Yeah, I haven't tried that, so that will come later when I get the relevant quest, which I do have, but I'll do Deluded first for the 30 time-worn artifacts I need. Because I'm getting the Dragoon weapon and the Summoner for that stage, and Summoner's the last one here. But then I need to do, I think, is it 3 or 4 runs of Delilah, and then I'm done for good after that. Because I'm also getting the crystals from having it open for Summoner, and also like you have the final stage. You know, because I have that open, I'm getting 2 things at once. I think hopefully that works. Anyway, on to Zadnor. Thanks to another player, I actually learned a trick quite early on to what it is, and I got fed up of playing DPS in that place because I was just so squishy and doing nothing. So I decided to try tank, and I went with all-reliable Paladin. And this ended up being one of the best decisions I could have ever made, because Paladin made it a breeze. Deaths were much less infuriating and much less frequent. You could survive things, especially with Essence of the Bloodsucker. That seems to be the best one there for Paladin, probably Warrior as well, to be honest. But it definitely adds to the survival element and helps. On top of it, you got some broken defences as well, so it really parts on. But then I discovered over time I was using different things. I was using Swift still, that's on the swap now, but then off. I used Cure at first, and then something like Protect 1. But then I discovered default power, because I was thinking, okay, if I'm a tank, I'm going to need to do some DPS. And I discovered the font of power, which increases damage by 30% and critical hit by 45%, I believe. And this thing fucking changed everything. With Bloodsucker enabled as well, you just won't die, and assuming you're in a group, you're just never going to die with that enabled. It's actually insane how powerful it is. It's kind of crazy, and I think it is designed for tank, if I'm not mistaken. I guess pretty sure it's only for tanks. So that ended up changing things, and as for why I needed them, it turns out the way to spawn critical encounters was through defeating specific enemies, but I just pulled everything, because you got posture clusters as well. I managed to almost cap it twice in my time for doing the one-time grind there, for the relic weapon step, which is annoying. It's annoying to spawn them because it had cooldowns, which I think they should change, honestly. I think it should just spawn whenever, as long as the critical encounter before it's finished, so it's not stacking, obviously. But yeah, I think there are still problems despite this, and some fates of skirmishes, I keep saying the wrong thing, but some skirmishes are still overtuned even despite me being tank. There's like the one with the Griffin that's stupidly hard, there's the one with the Red Mage that has too much health. There's just a massive problem with that. It's way too uneven, it's unbalanced, and the fact that I can't even survive those things as that Paladin with that build is just insane to me, and the fact I could pull like a bunch of mobs as well and not even die, because obviously there's so much healing going out from that. Again, it's insane. It's the only way to survive those. yeah, those spawning critical encounters is okay. I think it's quite generous in this, obviously endgame bit. Compared to Ryuko, as I sort of mentioned before, it seems a bit easier. Spawns more frequently and more reliably. And because I like pre-farmed as well, even when it was on cooldown, it spawned like 3 in a row, which is kind of insane, which is good. Grouping was a problem though, trying to find groups, because you'd be ignored for some reason or another. Don't know if they're in Dalradia or something else. It's hard to determine why players wouldn't invite you to groups, so eventually we ended up having some regulars, and I met the player who taught me about the critical encounter spawn stuff. And yeah, I got everything pretty much done pretty swiftly, and it took just about over a day in total. And there's a bit of me AFKing in between, but didn't really result in anything, which kind of sucked. It did take time away from hobbies, but I have actually got some done, some bits done on that, so it's not been a waste of time entirely. It's just a nuisance, that's the thing. I just often want this grind to be over. That's like the main crux of the issue that keeps coming back to haunt me with this sort of thing. It's so much time invested in this shit. That's why it's a problem. But even with all the correct gear, it's still problematic at times. Given that I've been in this place for, what, 2 or 3 days now? I can't remember when I started actually. So I'm pretty sure I started the grind yesterday. So I did some Deluded on Tuesday, I believe, which is reset. I forgot to do Blue Mage. I've got to do that tomorrow. I'll put that at the forefront. Just remembered that. Blue Mage Weekly. Yes, I still do them. What else is there? It's still problematic. Critical encounters, yes, they vary quite widely. Because they're so weirdly designed here and there. The scaling is very fucking off, and you do get the power of the echo, which gives you the power of multiple players, which I didn't realise before. I didn't really realise that until this, because we do a critical encounter with 2 players, and it's like, oh, how are we going to beat this? Turns out the echo. That's how we beat it, so that's good. But it's actually better to play with less players, believe it or not, unless it's a one-shot mechanic, which is a problem as well. Because the more players you have, the more chaotic and dangerous it is, it turns out. Which is a very big problem. There's like a wind boss? Oh no, the one that slashes, the fire boss actually is more accurate. In zone 1, as we call it, is like Z1. I can one-shot you with some things, and the mechanics are difficult as well. In fact, I'm still messed up on them, even I haven't done it a few times. Did die to the towers, which is good, but got hit by everything else, and as a DPS it's going to suck. That has to be said. It's very overtuned in that sense. I can't remember the other mechanics, because it dies quite quickly. And then there's like a skirmish where it's like this ice guy does a cone and it just one-shots you. Don't know what the fucking deal with that is. Yeah, I think that's about it for this. I don't really think there's anything else there. There's any sort of danger. But in the second area there are problem ones as well. Which one to even start with? And struggling to remember them as well. I think the last one for my relic step was very fucking weird, because it had such terrible mechanics that were overtuned to hell that it pretty much almost wiped us out entirely. And it was thanks to one red mage that fucking knew the mechanics and barely fucked up. It died once, but after that it's like up all the time. I need to revive a red mage because they'll get quicker reses out. That's correct in that, obviously. I've played red mage, fuck. But we had about 18 players there or something. And somehow we fucking managed with about 17 players dead. Somehow we kept getting revived and kept reviving. Got it down after, I think, 8 or 9 minutes, which is insane. This fucking red mage just literally goes to, it's fucking insane. Then I eventually figured out the mechanics almost to a T there in that time as a tank, but the tank buster is way too overtuned, that has to be said. Turns out if you're full health, it'll take you right down, even with defensives. So it's a bit broken. I don't like that encounter, obviously. A bit shit. But Zone 3, skirmish wise, Red Chocobo is a bit problematic. For some reason the meteor is very inconsistent, because sometimes if you're close to it, it don't kill you, but if you aren't, I mean, it could kill you as well. So it doesn't matter. It seems very busted there. Some, again, skirmishes have too much health. And I'm pretty sure there's some critical encounters which are too overtuned as well here. I do think there's one, but it's not coming to me for some reason. Yeah, but overall not a good area. It's a bit worse than the first one. The first one was problematic, but it's mainly because I didn't know what I was doing. I think I didn't have any essences either, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame really. It could have been something great, but no. Yeah, Papaga it. But that's Zadnor. Not fun. Don't recommend. For a relic grind, it's doable, but again, you just have to be warned. It's very fucking steep of a learning curve and just so much bullshit in it. You have to expect to die, essentially. That's the first thing you have to come to terms with. And there are readable mechanics, I forgot to mention that, but it's not survivable, even with that in mind. It feels very much designed for veteran players rather than what would be newer players coming here, which I technically am. So I was very unfamiliar with it, very unsure, and even discovered recently, just before I finished, with one of the party members that taught me about this stuff as well. We sort of helped each other out as well with the final steps of our relic grinds, which is great, because I put them in hellish, I think. But there's also apparently a way to kill the star enemies, the ones with star ratings. I think there's only like one star. Couldn't see any that indicated there was more, even though some people for some reason did say there was. In Reddit anyway, it's Reddit, so I don't know. But it tells that you can use like Lost Touch, was it? Something that one-shots them. And somehow our newbie player fucking did it twice, when the veteran player here only managed it once in like 30 minutes of trying constantly and failing, because that's like a mischance or something. But you get like fragments for it. I think it's rare fragments, I didn't check. Too tired to check my appraiser at the moment. I'll do it when I do Blue Brom, but yeah. But overall, Zadnor, no, fuck it. It's dead to me now. Until I try, you know who, Delilah. So yeah, let's move on. So, I've just finished watching Games Nexus video called AMD What the Fuck, which I swear they've already done. But I think this time it's even more concerning with the topic, and before it's maybe like AI shit and also losing the battle in terms of the duopoly that we're seeing, as it's actually called. But my fucking god, this shit is a clusterfuck of just random garbage and greed, it's corruption, it's everything at this point. And yeah, like it seems that AMD is also on the bad side, which is fucking annoying. Because I wish that it weren't that, but well, I've got no choice. That's the fucking problem here. Yeah, where I would otherwise support someone else, within reason, it just doesn't seem possible or plausible anymore. Like, it's very strange, but we don't actually have an easy way out. And it's really a struggle because at the end of the day, a lot of us rely on this technology, and I do too. Without an AMD CPU, I couldn't play games. Got to live my life without one? Yeah, but it's going to be everywhere, and that's the problem. Even if I try to get away from, say, computing entirely, change my life essentially, and become like a guitarist, I've still got to use technology. So there's no escaping it. Like, to get a guitar that I really want or need to function, I need to be able to go online. I need to be able to research it and discover everything I can about this guitar and make sure I'm making the right purchase decisions and such. That's really where the issue is. It's like there's no choice. You're stuck in this with everyone else, which is frustrating. It also just feels very wrong for it to be like this anyway. There's so many fucking issues as it currently stands. Like, can't even list the amount of problems we've seen since like tech has been this way. Like, since the start of COVID, I believe it started happening, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like scalpers first, and then AI suddenly after that, when it sort of stabilised a bit. Which I'm not 100% sure if it did, actually. I sort of struggle to come to terms with that because I haven't seen much proof. As far as I know, RTX 3070 still costs a ton, or maybe the equivalent these days. Yeah. Again, G situation. What was I going to say? Yeah, this is it. Basically, you can't disassociate politics from this, and it's obviously defend gamers nexus here for getting political. They have to, because this is a situation we're in. It's higher stakes than ever. There's so much to lose in this battle, and we can't ignore that. There's literally no way out of this. We have to acknowledge these things and address them properly, so that we can move on and go ahead and fix a lot of these problems that we're facing at the moment, and just address it however we can. I don't know what the solution is, to be honest. Not even convinced there is one, because that's how complicated this situation has become. How things have changed so much. And I remember, I sort of wish we were back in the glory days, where it was mainly about, someone showing off the GTX 1080. Like, that was a different time. And there's also like Linus Tech Tips back in the sort of house, kitchen room when they did their stuff. It's always a nice touch, but yeah, I think everyone wishes that we could go back to that, especially if you've been into tech like I have, and weird enough, it's not something I've been public about, but I am quite into tech. Linus Tech Tips was one of the first ever tech channels I ever watched, and one of the last I've ever watched, to be fair now as well. It's like fucking controversies, being. But tech has always been an interesting part of my life. It's been, okay, like, this is cool. I can get behind this sort of thing. Like, there's some cool tech with like supporting disability. There's like many different aspects to consider here. And tech isn't just about obviously how fancy something is, it's about how beneficial it is to others, and as long as it doesn't come at a cost as well. Which is probably the more important point nowadays, more than ever. I have to emphasise that. So, what else is there? Yeah, it's to get political because things have changed, and why is there chocolate underneath my fucking keyboard track? Double check that. There's no some brown shit on my hand, and also it has to be chocolate because there's nothing else that I'll get under there and do that. Have that gravy. Unlike gravy, billionaires and CEOs seem to be fucking getting into bed with Trump. And I've noticed it as well, where they seem to be very sort of secretive about these things and not public, but they do appear whenever there is a sort of public viewing, and I think that's mainly to grab the attention of like billionaires and stuff, like other billionaires, essentially. I don't know what you call it, like a honeypot? Is that what it is? I can't remember the fucking term now. That's what it is. It's basically a trap for other billionaires and millionaires, for that matter. That's essentially all this is. It's like publicity, and then obviously all this publicity is good publicity because it gets other people on board, and people who are convinced that somehow, still, that America can be made great again. They're also on board with this. They're thinking like, look at all my heroes there. Look at Elon Musk and his openly paedophilic beliefs and shit. Like, it's so fucking insane. It's just bad. That's where the future is headed. And where it is at the moment as well. The fact that people are idolising politicians and millionaires alike just for the sake of, I don't know, revenge politics, or thinking their country is amazing because they need to make it that way. There's so much wrong here, and so much at stake, as I said. It's just impossible to avoid. That's why I feel there's so many problems here. People need to wake up and obviously smell of coffee, because, yeah, the reality is you're not going to find any benefits in, as I said in a previous episode, you're not even going to find satisfaction in revenge politics either, because that's not going to happen. Even though you see people having their rights lost and stuff, and that may be satisfying for some fucking reason, I don't understand really. It's not going to benefit you, because you're not going to see it. It's not going to happen right in front of you. There's no like planned, like, I don't know, live stream in some sick way where you're going to see, oh, today we're executing X amount of autistic or trans people, whoever it is. So they throw anyone under the bus. But you're not going to see that, because they don't fucking have to do that. And in fact, if they did, you'd see wars, because people would take issue with it across the world. Places where there are better politics and better lives, better living standards, and they'll have to do so because this is horrible. A lot of people already do this anyway, not necessarily make wars from it, but they react to it, that's for sure. So it does matter, and it is a big deal. But going back to the topic, really, with billionaires and CEOs just being so ingrained into politics, that's because they think they can control everyone. The reality is they can't. You know, you have more power than you actually think. So like the more people there as well, like the harder it is to counter. And you also need to be tactical about things for sure, but there's ways around it. I won't suggest them, because I don't know where it stands like legally. I was sort of briefly mentioned in the angry protests thing, I think. But that was a interesting dream I had, just almost felt real. It's like a non-violent sort of a pressuring way to get the police to leave you alone, and even just government. And that may be the way to go. As I said, there's so many problems at the moment, it's hard to tackle, and I think everyone's struggling. I think it's better if there's like crowds of people not just protesting, but just doing things in terms of action, like direct action, like there should be. That's how we make change. Like newsflash, that's how we got even the most of the price we had. I say had because they're not going to be there for long. Yeah, but you can't disassociate these things. Politics and money are quite heavily ingrained. Even the cost of living, for example, is quite heavily like, I don't know what you call it, coincided or into each other. It really varies, but they are related. Because guess what? They end up being similar things and similar interests. And a government might want to get more money, might want to get more funding, for example. There might even just be cases of billionaires wanting control over everyone else. Again, withholding strict information. This is why there's so many problems that are actually leading us to be against each other, because now we're going to say, I don't know, I was just seeing a billionaire CEO just killing an innocent family with like a rocket launcher. It's just going to say like, no they're not. Like, maybe you go on camera, but it's also could be AI, and then people are just going to doubt you. Why else do you think they're into this? It's because they can get away with these crimes, and nobody else can, and so nobody can believe anyone anymore. All the information is essentially incorrect. And to a certain extent, the only safest way to fucking live is like indigenous people. To be like indigenous people. Just something I discovered recently through a modified skeptic. I didn't realise how much their cultures can be not necessarily wholesome, but just so ingrained in nature and happiness that it just seems better than the lives we currently live. Because we're too ingrained into greed and like anything we could get our hands on. And we just forget those things. It's just why it's important to obviously take note and care about things like climate change. But again, when billionaires control the narrative, it's like living here is dangerous. Living in the wild, you're probably going to have a better chance. That's just objectively so. It might depend on where you live, but I guarantee you it could be the case. That seems to be the only valid option at this point. So I don't really know any other solution. It genuinely seems like the only thing that can be done. Which I was more that could be done. Anyway, there's no point in disassociating politics, as I said. There is no way you can do that, because it's obviously ingrained. And one CEO is in bed with a really corrupt government, who also supports paedophilia, then you've got a problem. And then people who support them have also got a problem as well. It just is a clusterfuck. It literally cannot be ignored. It's really important that we take note of this and also remember in history, like literally, we need to start finding ways to write this shit down physically rather than digitally, because digitally it can still be removed, I think. Because they'll have that power eventually. But be able to physically report on this so that if we do get wiped out, if we do go extinct or something goes wrong basically, we can still have history to reflect on it, to go back on, look at, see where it went wrong. So others can learn. That's essentially what it's about. And whether people take that or not is obviously up to them, but they're not here to criticise that. And it's stupid, but something that probably needs to happen now. Yeah, so obviously going back to the Stone Ages, maybe just hide things in books, for example. That's sort of one of the ways to do it before they do, anyway. I'm not sure what else to add here. So what's up with these enemies? Oh, a double boss. Interesting. But yeah, again, really frustrating, and I just hate the fact that people want to disassociate this from politics when it very much is a political situation. There is no avoiding it. We're forced into this, much like Gamer's Nexus was, and there's just no easy way out. It's just absolute fucking absurdity. It's just nuts. So I don't really know what else to add, but Seems to be the scenario we're in now. So yeah, let's move on. I can't remember if I've ever talked about it. One of the stupidest fucking trends I've ever seen is probably to do with basically the whole Scrandle stuff and just the other handles. Whether there is. I do not like these, to be honest. As much as there can be some good ones, I think the problem with these is that they're all trying the same thing. It just gets extremely boring and just annoying over time. And that increases the amount of frustration with that kind of stuff. It's like, what is the point? It doesn't do anything. And it just seems like people are trying to show off or something. And I've never really liked it, but I think my most disliked one is probably to do with Scrandle, of all things, so the food one. Which is no surprise because I'm pretty much anti-animal products at this point. Not vegan, but anti-animal products. And my biggest problem with it is it seems like corporate funded garbage. It literally just reeks of animal agriculture, or, you know, meat lobbyists, whatever you call them. Just literally fucking over the planet and everyone else with that, I suppose. Just feels so shit, and yeah, never really been a fan of that. It's been incredibly frustrating to just see that growing popularity, and even then, it's just crap. But there is another thing with it that I don't know if I realised it at the time. I realised this other thing, obviously. Just not liking the fact that it could be industry funded, but it's also to do with the fact that you really can't judge food by its cover. Like, literally, you cannot. It's pretty fucking ridiculous. And I think people associate a lot of colour in food with it being tastier, but that isn't always true. I've had plenty of colourful food that isn't tasty. I'm trying to think of an example. Definitely have had this before. I guess, like, compare like a standard vegan burger, like say it's an ultimate burger by, I don't know, I've tried the Morrison's one. It's not good, I don't think, when they used to do it anyway. But you compare that to something like the Aldi one, which looks worse. So the Morrison's one looks good, but the Aldi one, or Audi, however you say it, don't like saying Audi because that's a car, technically speaking, a car brand. But you compare them by look, yeah, Audi's looks worse. But then you actually, like, cook them and you try them, and it's actually the case that Audi's one is so much better. And so judging it by appearance is not a good thing, and even then comparing obviously two different meals at a different price point as well. It's sort of the gimmick with this, but I just also don't see the point. Because people are going to go with the thing that's more colourful. And there is more of a bias towards that as far as I can tell. Because even then, food is sort of an art in its own way. Where people will strictly go for the thing that's more colourful and has more ingredients in it. And I don't know if that's like a survival instinct or something. It does feel like it could be. When we're like scavenging, we see like another load of, I don't know, berries, or I don't know what it could be actually, apples. That's kind of why I feel like that's a thing that we have, like, as a bias. But I do seriously take issue with the fact that it is basically a competition based on how artistic it is. Because you can't taste the food, which is the other issue. I don't really condone doing that sort of thing anyway, because it is just a risque thing, and obviously animal products are completely immoral, and I think anyone having them is kind of corrupt in their own way. And yeah, people may not like that, but that's the unfortunate truth. It's all in writing. It's all corrupt, so it's not fucking worth it. yeah, comparing meals is just, it's one of the strangest fucking ideas there is. And someone like me who, even as a foodie myself, I don't even find the appeal in this. I think a lot of people like to think they understand food, and they literally fucking don't. You literally have to taste things and identify ingredients in them to get somewhere. And that's why nobody's really a good critic of food. And even something like the burger mugging thing, which is obvious marketing, it shows you how stupid people are. Literally, with a lot of this stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous and out of hand. So yeah, I've never liked Scrandle as a concept. And also, what's another thing I could say? Like, food is not always about the taste either, it's also about nutritional benefit too. Every now and then I would have a salad. Fuck, I forgot to order that actually. There's a sign I was forgetting. I got a Tesco collection recently, and yeah, we forgot to get some mixed leaves and tomato. Yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but that's the thing. A salad can even be tasty, yeah, if you know what to put in it. I usually either use like garlic, olive oil, or something like Hellman's vegan garlic mayo, which is actually probably one of the best mayos out there. It's so fucking tasty. I literally only buy that ever since it came out. It's actually pretty insane. It goes extremely hard. But yeah, like a flavour with that, or I could find some salad toppers, which don't always work. It's for me anyway. And I would add raw onion, but my body doesn't react well to raw onion for some reason. It can be good if it's in like a slightly heated environment. It tastes good and it doesn't fucking sting me from the inside out. It really varies. But as I said, again, it's not always about looks, and when I make a salad, it ends up looking depressing because I fucking mix so many things into it. Like salt, pepper, garlic mayo, just various things I could add. And even then I can add like a twist, I could add sriracha mayo and it looks weird. But it may not look appetising, but then I've got something like kimchi noodles, which I have quite regularly. Because there's, I should do some brand with that, I think it's the Nissan? It's not Nissan, is it? Not a car company. I can't remember. But there are genuinely some good brand of noodles out there. And they don't look the part. In fact, their image often like portrays a unrealistic image of what they actually are like, what they look like. The kimchi noodles do actually look impressive, I will say. But they look depressing when you add stuff to it and make it different in a way. Sometimes I add too much water, so I add sort of like Bisto meat-free chicken gravy granules to it. That changes the colour a bit. Yeah, like this could go on and on. And even though the food may not look nice, it actually does taste nice. And it's probably good for you as well. I know what I know about food anyway. I'm pretty sure noodles are okay. I haven't heard anything to say to the contrary. It's not. I suppose the only bad ingredient in it is either the oils or the gluten, obviously. But even then, it's not the worst thing I could be having, and it's my go-to meal. It has been for ages. That's for good reason. And again, it doesn't look the part at all. So for me, it's literally secondary whether something looks good or not. I've made plenty of salads before that look amazing but don't taste the part. I've made curries that look good but they don't taste the part as well. I've even made desserts that look good and again they don't taste that way. I'm not sure what it is exactly. But it's just like incredibly fucked that we have this stupid ass idea of comparing meals, not being able to taste them obviously, but I don't even know how we would address that so people could. But even then, the smells are deceiving. That's the other thing I've noticed in cooking a lot of vegan food. I've found foods that are just absolutely deceiving. I cooked something the other day actually. I forgot what it was actually. What the fuck was it? God, I can't remember. It's something I was looking forward to trying, and it ended up not tasting the way it smelled. Damn it. I wish I could remember what it was. It might be some sort of burgers, I'd like to say. But it tasted nothing like it should have. It's a moral of the story there. So it just failed in its most basic thing, and that did suck. I'm not really sure what the solution would be to that kind of thing. Like, if there is one, for that matter. There's like frustration I have every now and then. That, yeah. Frankly, again, this is all dumb. There's not really anything else to add to this, it's just all fucking dumb. There's no reason for a lot of this to exist, and for some reason people are taking it upon themselves to make their own versions. And also in the case of Scrandle, it's like, what's the point? You can only base your opinion on what you see, rather than what you taste, and that is a problem in itself. And then you get these discoloured photos which are dumb enough in their own, and they don't deserve it justice. But it's so strange of an idea that it just reeks of meat lobbyists and God knows what. But weirdly enough, they have suddenly added like vegan and veggie versions of food, but it's not good, in my opinion. It's still not good even with that in account, and even then, if it was just all vegan or vegetarian food, it would still be bad, because of the fucking idea to begin with. It's just a bad idea to start. There's not really much else to add here. I'm only excited. Is that actually what is going on? It's just nuts. Anyway, I think I ought to move on. Too many things to do to catch up on, so yeah. So there's some interesting news recently, and I saw that someone I follow in the office cast has transitioned to being a woman, and the office casts are very progressive, and I still do love and respect them for that. And I have no issues. So, that out of the way. I'm a normal person, for the most part anyway. I'm also very weird. But one of the things that I thought was very interesting from this person that I feel is very important to reflect as well, because I do believe this myself, is you shouldn't be afraid to ask questions about anything. Whether it's about transitioning or like the complications of it, like almost anything. And it gets me thinking, because I feel like a lot of the hatred out there is just spawned from not understanding things. And that was literally the case with my own sort of transphobia and homophobia, for that matter. Because I didn't realise that it was actually essentially all this hatred is something that's fabricated and doesn't actually mean a thing. Like, it's so harmful to the people who are obviously part of this, who are, well, gay, lesbian, whoever. It really doesn't matter, and the misinformation, the hatred, does not help in that. In fact, it ends up making the world a worse place for every single person. It doesn't necessarily even mean that the person who gets worse off from it means that you get better. In fact, as I've explored many times in the political part, there is no such thing as revenge politics ever being satisfying. It just doesn't exist. And if you chase like a fucking unicorn, whatever it is, or the demon version of it anyway, then, you're not going to find it. It simply doesn't exist. And that's the big problem here. So, yeah, this is why you need to ask questions. And ask those questions that are seemingly uncomfortable, because people will have to answer it somehow. And you have to understand that that is the reason. The reason why we have change is because people ask questions and got the answers. And we even listen to other people, which is also a basic respect you should have. Doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with their opinion, you have to fucking listen, even their position for that matter. Again, listening is key. So you need to understand that before you even get to this point of, oh, I can tell trans people they don't exist. Like, you have to have a very fucking good position to actually be able to say that. And to say it in good faith, for that matter, which is an even harder thing for people to do now for some reason. Which I genuinely don't understand, because it should be quite easy enough if you actually understand it. But no, nobody has done it. I guess you think, really, like maybe there isn't a justification. So yeah, great. What is there else to even talk about? I guess it's like asking questions. I remember actually once, don't ask me how I got into this situation, but somehow some children were fucking asking me how I know that I'm essentially pansexual, and obviously it's curiosity. I don't think they should be denied the right to an answer there, because eventually they will discover it, and I don't think it's wrong to really put that in the head. I said, like, well, you know if you know. That's pretty much my best response. Because you know if you're attracted to someone based on, I don't know, whether it's anatomy or if it's romantically, you never actually know. It really depends, and that's really what it is. And really the answer of you know if you know is actually really fucking accurate. It's scarily accurate. I guess uncanny, technically speaking. But that's why I answered that with that. And mainly there's a bit of anxiety in between, because I'd never been asked that before. And yeah, I think they noticed that I had a pansexual flag as well, which is why they asked. But that's essentially why. Essentially, what was it? I've been asked. It's important stuff, in all honesty. I don't think it is unusual at all. So yeah, I think it's a interesting topic to bring up. It does help to ask the questions. Like, as I said, this is why you ask. It's because you never actually know. And like with the case with transitioning, you don't always know until you actually experiment, because that's the reality that you're in. Sometimes experimenting is like the best way to discover these things, and uncomfortably it can be, yeah. It can be uncomfortable, I mean. But it doesn't inherently mean that it's entirely a bad thing. Literally, it's like, it can always be a good thing. And it doesn't hurt to know. So what else do I say here? But again, asking the questions is important, because sometimes you don't even know these things until you get the answer. One of the things that gets me, I guess, is when it's like a medical problem you may not even know you have. For example, I had low iron constantly and cold hands, and it turns out this was probably passed down from family. And I remember just sitting there with my family once and sort of brought it up, like, do you get cold hands too? They asked us, and it's like, yeah. Like, oh, we got that as well. Like, oh. So it seems to be passed out. That's why you ask questions. Again, it really explains a lot. And the same could be said with something like neurodivergent and stuff. It can be answered. And there's no answer too uncomfortable, I don't think. The truth can be hard to swallow, but that's what I say. It's to enlighten you. It may be hard to swallow at first, but once it's in, it's in. Nobody, like, everybody brings up how you can't really swallow the truth that easily, but nobody also brings up letting it settling in. It's weird. I know it's a weird sort of thing to analogize, is that the term? Analogize. But it is important. You do need that. So that's why that's even a thing. The questions end up teaching us as well. They can sometimes teach us more than just straight up education. I never even had LGBTQ plus education in my school, believe it or not. I'm not sure if that's because it's like I'm the gung-ho Christian or whatever they call it. It's not that called that, but you know, it's not like pro-Christian at all. Primary school was, but secondary wasn't so much. But either way, we didn't have the education, and it's like, yeah, this is how you discover that, it seems. And it turned out to be a very integral part of it. So again, you know if you know. The same with if you don't think you're the right gender, if you can't figure it out. There's many different things here to consider in that. So yeah. What to add? So I think I've pretty much touched on everything. So yeah, want to move on. So, the Dalradia raid. Yeah, what the fuck? Like, I think my problem with this was not a raid, it's a critical encounter, but still. I think my main problem with this is just not fun. I just have to be honest, it just doesn't seem fun. And I think my main problem is, I guess I don't understand it at the moment, much like the castrum, but even then it still feels a bit kind of a bit off in that sense. I don't really get why a lot of these things are the way they are in that sense. It's a bit strange to me that that is a thing. Yeah, ignore the DPSs that are irregular. Just me in a nutshell. Fuck it, let's go with some Dynamite dice. Never tried it. That's the time. And I'm just waiting for critical encounters and stuff. Because I'll explain the proof of metal after this, but if I remember. So it starts with a boss, a top and down boss. I didn't even realise it a down area. I never really bothered to look because I was just so overwhelmed by seeing a new thing, as it usually happens anyway. I always just get overwhelmed by stuff like that. I'm wondering to see. What's going on with my Windows Explorer? Fucking group, you bastard. There we go. Yeah, first boss was okay. I think I died once or twice, and I used a stupid setup. As you can see, I actually lost one to magic, lost one of fuck off. No, lost one of, yeah. But it had big problems in my opinion, that is. And I don't really like it, to be honest. Yeah, fuck it, let's fair trade, let's go. Spin to win, this one. Yeah, like, it's just a strange thing. Strange setup, and it didn't really work. I was playing Summoner for anyone unaware. And it's mainly because it's my comfort thing, I suppose. Like, that's mainly why I played Summoner. Just feel like Summoner is my comfort job at this point, because it's so easy to play, but it can be hard to keep track of if it's overwhelming. But yeah, it certainly has its thing, that can be said. But I didn't like the first boss. I think there's too much going on, to be honest, for the first boss as well. Which is weird because there's a top and a bottom one compared to the castrum one. I think this was way more complicated and overtuned. Where the castrum one you you know, get used to it quite quickly because it's like a few mechanics at a time. No problems there. But here it's like you're punished because you don't understand the boss. Great, thanks. There's no learning curve, there's nothing. It's not even learning mechanics for that matter. Which I think Castrum was good at, if I'm not mistaken. At least if it wasn't learning mechanics, it was like at least not punishing enough that it would basically dissuade you from these things, and it's generally okay from that perspective anyway. So yeah, I didn't mind Castrum overall in the end. I think it certainly had places to improve, but anyway, back to Dalradia. I think, yeah, after the first boss, it's okay. I didn't realise I had a stupid mistake in that almost possibly wipes the, well, us actually. I didn't realise I was too sleepy to fucking notice as well. That's a big problem here as well. Been so sleep deprived from farming all this shit that I just don't really notice things. So that hasn't been helpful at all. But yeah, I almost killed the boss before Deluded and could have wiped us, because I know from the other thing that essentially is what happens. If you end up basically oh fuck, I better get off this fucking thing. Use this thing. I'm almost dead. Hello, can I take talk please? Fucking hell. What was I saying? I don't even know where to fucking move here. I just died, I don't really care at this point. Yeah, so I just wish there was like better ways to coordinate, and this is the problem with not having groups, because I don't know. That's weird. I don't know why, but recently this is the other thing with it actually. For some reason, I've been dying to nothing in these mechanics and these raids for group encounters. I have no idea why though. It just keeps killing me for no reason. I'll just stand there, do something. Oh, you're dead. Like what? There's nothing on the ground. There's nothing on the side. You just died to nothing. Like here. It is so strange. And maybe it's actually this thing, isn't it? Lost trace. Let's do it again. What do I get? I don't even see what you get, if anything. Not much I could do that. It's just experimentation at this point. So do AoE. What does it actually do? Yeah, I should pose the dead. Fuck's sake, I'm useless. I'll get distracted by that. What else is there? So after that, it was just down to this place. There's a mini boss to kill. It's just fine. And I think after that, yeah, there's a boss that I actually like here. It's a big belly boss. You probably know why if you've played it. It was honestly fun. I quite liked it. It's just goofy. It's fun stuff. Wasn't really frustrating. I did die at the end again for that reason I said before, like here as well. Just died to nothing. Why do I have this mechanic when I'm dead? My back is seen. What the fuck do you call this? Oh, I thought it was on my back. It's weird. Yeah. It's just a bunch of strange circumstances there. So the boss was fun. I like the belly squishing thing. That's definitely one of the funnest parts of that, in my opinion. It certainly is something. One of a kind. Yeah, not really much else to say on this. It's quite basic mechanics. It's a bit strange as a thing though, but it's fun. As we said, it's just objectively fun. What else is there? After that, there is a split up for 3 groups apparently. I didn't realise there was 3 because the elevator one didn't seem to turn on when we were standing there.
so I didn't really understand that. But if you go right, you get lasers, and I went right. Lasers on the electric floor, and a fucking, what is it? It's like wobble lasers? I don't know what you call it. But it is utter garbage. I didn't like this part at all, because it meant you were soft locked, and it could actually just wipe the party, right? The critical encounter. God, they need to fix this thing. It's a bit stupid that defenses do nothing. Yeah, it's very strange. I just have to be honest there. Because I couldn't tell when the lasers were coming, I couldn't tell when the ball lasers were coming on as well. It seemed to be random from what I could tell, I couldn't see an indication. Just so many strange things going on with that. I genuinely do not understand. I'm removing that buff, fuck that. Yeah. So thank you. Let's find a new one. Oh, actually never mind. I could have fixed that. Have you got a buff? No, I'll give you that. Sorry. Yeah, so splitting up, I didn't like it. You could get to the end and disable it, so if you are experienced, I guess you can do it. But, I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me, it's fucking pointless. So, it can honestly fuck off, is what I'll say to that. It's just not good. So that wasn't great, in my opinion. So cheap ones I could fucking get. Trying to think, how can I Guardian, I guess, fuck it. Ball. That is Guardian much. Yeah. So I'm not sure about that area. Again, I have to see the others to judge how the others go. But after that you're on to another mini boss, which is okay. And then I believe you're on to the final boss, if I'm not mistaken. The final boss, the second final boss rather, is a transformer thing. And it's kind of cool. I thought it was a transformer anyway, just based on the cannons it had on the back. It did transform, sadly. Bit disappointed by that. It seemed very transformer coded. So that kind of sucked, not gonna lie. Then what else is there? Just trying to think. It's not coming to me. Like the mechanics are kind of interesting. You're in there, it's just usual stuff really, it's nothing special though. I wouldn't say interesting, actually, it's the wrong term. More the usual, but then in comes the plot twist, spoiler, the Beastmaster is back. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson on, man? So we teach him another lesson, it's hippogriff giant thing, trying to stop him as well as the transformer. So we do that, and yeah. That's what happens there. So that's interesting. I would say it's my favourite pre-boss. So for some reason, that's another thing. Again, talk about the dying for no reason thing. Didn't die on it, but I did, however, get hit by the spinning mechanic, which wasn't anywhere near me. Again, what the fuck? It just doesn't seem right. There is something off about all that, if I'm being honest. It just didn't seem to be functioning properly today. I don't know what it was. A lot of the mechanics hitting when they're not supposed to, and I think part of that might be me hallucinating from being so lacking in sleep. What was my sleep last night? Let me look. 4 hours and 54 minutes, nice. It was a fun time, with lack of sleep. I can't get to sleep because, I don't know, just wake up in the night, can't fall asleep right away, miss out on my medication. One of the best things about it, actually, even though it did nothing, it did help with sleep. That can be said. I did always have a good night's sleep with that, except for waking up in the middle of that, can't be changed or helped. So yeah, anyway, after this boss, you get the final boss, which is a pretty cool idea, but also very punishing, it seems, because we had no healer throughout the encounter. I can't remember if I mentioned that. One healer out of 18 players. And we had one player with a lost cure, I think, but didn't really use it much. But it just didn't work out well, in my opinion. It felt shit. I didn't like it. The mechanics were difficult enough as they are, but having no healer to top you up or help you from death as well, it's just very bizarre to me. We had one sage, and the sage was, I don't know if they're trying or doing their best or what, it's hard to say. But I tried to revive wherever I could as summoner without using stupid abilities. But it's just a disaster. It was just bad. I don't really know how to address it exactly. Yeah, I think there needs to be a better party system, that's for sure. Like if I go here, adventure this, there's no look of party like there was in Eureka, and there's no just automation from it as well. So you can't even just join a party or even just make a fucking alliance. Like an alliance would be great. Like why the hell aren't we doing that? Even if it splits into 2 or 4 alliances, what's the problem? Imagine what they had to do back in the day without this shit. It's just fucking weird. I wonder how they did it, if it filled up? What? Filled up? Yeah, filled up. Yeah, Daria's back. Okay. Riggs, why not? See if anyone joins. I can't solo it though. Fuck that. Yeah. Less players on it now than there was. Actually, I'm not even sure if it's worth it for metal. Like, how much did I get from that? Can I see? 1,000 good nuts across. There it is. 3,375,000 metal. So actually that makes up for all the deaths I had. It's just quite a few. That's actually worth it. It's like 6-8 times more than the critical encounter I just did there, which is 675,000. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. 2 players, not good. Unless it's supplements, but I don't know. And also there's a chance I could always wipe on it as well. Oops, didn't mean to do that, but why not? Yeah, what else is the final boss, yeah, the portal thing was a bit confusing, especially when the arena shortened. Because you have to keep track of every fucking portal it comes out of, and it's really hard to time it as well and position yourself. I think that's a bit overtuned, in my opinion. I don't know if there's a strategy for it I'm missing, but to me it just didn't come to me quite obviously. And I've seen a lot of mechanics in this game, and I haven't seen that. It really says something. So you also need time to learn it. And there wasn't really any learning bits in this one because it's quite punishing. And then it did this laser thing. I forgot about that laser thing on the ground that expands and essentially blows up. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why it did this, but it killed me without warning. It just randomly appeared. It did a cross-section version of it. So like overlapped, and I got killed by it because there was no indication. I moved to a safe spot, or what I thought was safe, and I get punished. Like, great, thanks. Fucking amazing gameplay. Yeah, what a load of shite. Oh fucking hell, I keep just clicking. I need to close this. That's the problem with the ice sometimes. It's like, you can accidentally click this shit, not meaning it. I might withdraw if there's nobody going in that. Fuck that. I'd rather do it with multiple players so I don't look an ass. Critical encounters would be better. So yeah, final boss, not great. Weird, but there's only one boss I liked in that. And only one section, which was that one boss, the Billy boss. Oh, fuck me though. That was not fun. I see why people don't run it as much as Castrum. It makes sense to me why. and even for the crystals and stuff, in my opinion, it's not very worth it. And to get the, I go on to the Valor thing here. Is it Valor? No, it's Raise, the Raise system. So you get increased damage or HP or healing, I think, is the other one. And if you get that by trading in 20 million metal, which is a bit steep in my opinion, because for what you get here, like, it's a portion. The critical encounter gives you how much? I'm trying to math, like 3%, is that? 675,000. God, I cannot math today. Maybe better to look at it as like less zeros, so let's say 675 and it's like 20,000 to get. Yeah, it's about 6% actually. Maybe a bit more, maybe double because of the extra numbers. 12? No, that doesn't sound right. 12? No. I don't know, fucking know. Too tired. Yeah, it just feels like so much bullshit happening at once in that, in all honesty. I don't really understand a lot of the mechanics. But anyway, the raise stuff, it's worrying. I think with the raise stuff, it's too expensive, as I said. But also, I don't understand how you redistribute it. Like, can I change things here? Like, could I move this to here, but it requires 2? So not only do you need to do more grinding, you need to fucking get multiple to even upgrade it. So it's just kind of shit. And then what other reason do I have to come here? Like, genuinely, I don't even think I should be here now. Like, fuck this. I didn't even realise it increased. I was confused why I didn't upgrade. So fuck that. I'm not running this, I don't think, or at least not often. I might try, but not hopeful of it. Just to get the raw emotions. Yeah, the raw emotions in it. Yeah. Also get time-worn artifacts, so I might as well do Deluded for the other relic weapons, which will get me to about 23 raw emotion. And that's also like part way to finishing it too. So there's multiple benefits there. That really wants to do a Deluded run, but is there anyone on? Nope, okay. I might have to run one tomorrow. Let's see then. Yeah, but for the raise system, there's no point in fucking exploring that shit. It's too expensive, and as you can see, it's way too grindy as well. I get maybe if there's like more generous rewards, like you could get memories from critical encounters and emotions, if you could get everything from them, then you would have a reason. You'd have a passive grind to do, but you don't. So it's not worth it. Yeah, I'm looking at the list of the resistance weapons, and yeah, like it could be improved a lot. You could give all the memory stuff from what's it fucking called? Zadnor Fate skirmishes. Thanks. You could give the crystals. Is that? There's more memories of the dying. Okay. Give all that from skirmishes here. Like, why not? I genuinely don't understand. And then even something like the augmented order weapons, which require time and artifacts, could be given from here. So again, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. But in a stranger way here, like looking at the way you get raw emotions, it only suggests Dalradia, what do you call it? I'm gonna have to copy and paste that as well. Dalradia, the Deluded Regane, which is obviously I'm doing passively. Default. Then what else? Stormblood Dungeons. Kinda cool that it does that, but not worth it because it's quite a low amount. compared to the Lubran one, which will give you more. A 30-minute run is better than the 15-minute Stormblood dungeon, in my opinion. Plus you get the other bits. But the only other alternative is Heaven on High, the dungeon I haven't tried yet. Don't really care about trying. Yeah, it has to be said, it's a clusterfuck. And also please update the fucking wiki. There's no images for the final stages, which I don't get. It's a bit weird that they don't have the Blades series. Yeah. That's it, I think. But I might make an outro as well. Seems a bit necessary too. This has gone on for a while, this podcast episode. And I need to get back on track with sleep and stuff. So yeah, it'd be good to do that. I don't know, I might AFK grinds phrase, but I don't fucking know. And it seems way too expensive, and yeah. But I'll see. Maybe over time it'll get increased, but I don't know. Also, you get metal from other things, don't you? Like Deluded, if you do, that's great. Be great idea to have that as grinding. Also, how much do you get from Summit Front is my question. Sort of something I've wondered. Is it worth doing that? Is a question I have myself. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Let's move on. Not move on, actually end the episode, because I don't really think there's much else to talk about. So yeah. Thanks for listening.